That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. The crash came when the cash came. Spend it before you get it like those rookies all on draft day. For the love like it's match game. Hit the ground running, really do it for my last name. They act different when the facts change. I'm not with the tip for tag games. In my own league, I don't chase game. In my own league, I don't hang with lanes. I know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. Now how could that be? Talking about who can be talking about me. Feeling like Stretch where I got all this reach. Feeling too blessed when I step on these beats. Now how could that be? I could beat the pressure, I could beat the 2-3. Jab, jab, hook, then I duck and I weave. It was never you, it was me versus me. I know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. Better up, get some. Swinging for the fences, I might leave it in the sun. Every pitch a home run. Stack a couple tickets just to leave it to my son. Take it back while I begun. Small city kid, couldn't dream a bigger one. A marathon, never run. Check the scoreboard, how I'm feeling like I won. I know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. The crash came when the cash came. Spend it before you get it like those rookies all on draft day. For the love like it's match game. Hit the ground running, really do it for my last name. They act different when the facts change. I'm not with the tip for tag
games. Never up, never down, never. Like a theme in a song, clever. Feeling high, feeling low at the same time. Feels so right, then I'm wrong, hoping I'll be fine. But I get up, I always do. I never think, I always do. Never thought I wouldn't jump, oh what a fool. But if I fall, I will get up again.
I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse.
Guess who's back? That's right, it's Thursday night therapy session with your favorite host, Ronan and Fearless. But wait, this week's about to get even more real. Why? Because our therapist in Southern Belle, Georgia is back in the building and she's not holding back. The topic, it's been long overdue. Do you have daddy issues? Are the parents dodging responsibility, denying their part, passing blame like it's a game? George is here to put the dynamics under the microscope. And you already already know Ronan and Fearless are ready to come with that blunt truth like they always do. So sit back, grab a drink, and get ready for the conversation you didn't know you needed. You'll laugh, you'll think, you might even get a little uncomfortable because we're diving deep tonight. Thursday night therapy session is live. Don't miss it. George's point of view is locked and loaded, and Ronan and Fearless, well, they're bringing the fire. Are you ready to join the conversation? See you there.
Take a seat, excuse me. Now how could that be? Talking about who can be talking about me? Feeling like stretch where I got all this reach. Feeling too blessed when I step on these beats.
All right, now welcome to the show.
Hey.
First, let's give a salute out to the chat. We appreciate you for being here. You can be anywhere on this Thursday evening, but you chose to be with us. We're going to talk a little, laugh a little, learn a little. So it's time to
some of us got daddy issues.
Yep. So before we get real deep into it, just let's go around. How's everybody doing this evening?
Doing awesome.
All
Good.
right.
Tired.
Tired.
This Trump administration got folks
I'm working overtime. The crazies of the crazy.
Working overtime. My goodness, yeah, it's been a great week. I think we got a good topic tonight. We're going to be talking about some daddy issues.
I was hoping your neighbor would come back. I'm sure she got.
She texted me and said that she was asked me what time the show was, and I sent her the link. So
well, she need to come back on this panel. She needs to.
I enjoyed her presence.
I bet you did. You had backup.
Did finally
she comes up. If she's in the chat, oh, she's here. So, yeah. What I'll do is, I think I sent you the link. If you can check your email, I sent you the link. That'll get you to the back chat.
Yeah, Michaela, you got a Marine Corps daddy. I know you got daddy issues. Come on up here.
Oh goodness, you Ronan, you already started.
So first, before we can get too deep into it, we got to define what daddy issues is. So I'm gonna read something. We're gonna play something, and we're gonna get to it. Give me a second, Michaela. I'll bring you up. Oh well, never mind.
Hey guys,
how you doing? Got your hair did? Look at you.
I'm good.
I ran her off. I don't believe she came back. She ready to fight.
She a Marine. She a Marine daughter. She good for punishment.
I'm ready to do it. So tonight is daddy issues. So to let everyone know what daddy issues is, because everyone's going to have a different definition, and this is the kind of definition we're going to stick to. It's describe a pattern of behavior or emotional challenges in individuals. Typically, hey, what happened to Michaela?
I don't know.
It's typically in women, but it can apply to anyone who has unresolved feelings or experiences in their relationships due to their father or a father figure. So it has to do with being an absent father, emotionally unavailable father, abusive or toxic father, an overly or protective father or controlling father. And so it shows up through, you try to get validation through an older male. You have difficulty forming relationships. There's a fear of abandonment, low self-esteem, and rebellion against male authority of relationships. And I know y'all have dated people like that. All y'all. But before we get started, I'm going to play a few.
You too.
Hey, I dated some women with daddy issues. I know. That's why I said before on the thing, I said, I only want to date women who have children, who have a father in their life, a good father.
Oh, man.
I'm going to play some videos. And just to set the tone of what this is, to get us right, to know what we're talking about, then we'll comment on them. So,
relationships. What are daddy issues? According to licensed mental health counselor Bisma Anwar, the concept of daddy issues refers to the psychological effects of a strained or absent father figure relationship on a person's mental health and relationships. Psychology labels daddy issues as the father complex. The term describes problems in adulthood that may be connected to difficulties with the person's father during childhood. Commonly, there's an inability to trust other men in your adult life. Though it's generally used in relation to women, the fact is anyone.
So let's discuss that first of all. I know that previously on some of the things we talked about, I was chastised because I was saying some of those things when you're talking about women who were sexually permissive and being out there. And I said that is one of the reasons I only wanted to date women who had a good relationship with their father, because I seen that manifest. And one of the things this person said was sexually permissive, always rebellion. I've seen the women who say, I'm just focusing on my career, nothing else, because they can't develop those type of relationships. So what say you about some of the things that you have seen? I know you've worked, Georgia, with people who have issues growing up as children that manifest as adults. And that's what they're talking about. Some of these behaviors that manifest as adults. Do you see that with some of the, I guess we can start with women that you work with?
I definitely see this a lot with women. One of the things I'm glad it made mention of in the video was emotionally unavailable, because a lot of times when people think of absent fathers or daddy issues, they're only thinking about fathers who are not in the home, not necessarily fathers who are in the home and just are not emotionally available and or are abusive. So there's the same impact across the board. So I see this a lot. I see this a lot when I have single women coming into therapy. I have married women who are coming into therapy who are struggling in their marriages because of the issues that are starting to present themselves in the marriage. A lot of times, low self-esteem, becoming very needy and attached to the spouse, really having a hard time figuring out their identity. And so you latch on to the identity of the father, or I'm sorry, of the husband. A lot of issues with girls being attracted to older men. And a lot of people think it's funny and it's cute when you have men who go out and seek younger women, that there's a reason for that. Not only are they quote unquote more attractive, but they're also dealing with a lot of issues most of the time. And they can be molded into what that older man wants them to be. So there are some issues when you have a significant age difference with young girls and older men. Yeah, so the list goes on.
But is it that some of these, but is it some of the women? And here it seemed like the women were actually seeking the older men. It wasn't necessarily the older men were seeking the women. It was like they were seeking that validation or something from an older man. Do you see that?
Well,
They're the actual.
I see that both ways. So yeah, so a girl is out there seeking, but you also have a pool of men who are looking for that. So yes, the girls are going out there specifically looking for older men because they want to be taken care of. But the downside of that is this girl may never find out who she truly is because of that.
Michaela, I know you said that you were in some of the neighborhoods with your nonprofit, and you've seen some, some small girls that were already mothers and things. What do you see with some of the daddy issues? And when I say that, some of the men not being in the household, or maybe they are in the household, but they're not the best example of a father.
I see the opposite a lot of times of what Georgia was saying. I see, instead of them looking for somebody to control them, almost, it's more along the lines of, you can't tell me what to do. There's no respect for the man in the household because daddy wasn't around, or because daddy, was taught crazy to, or taught crazy to them. And so a lot of it is that attitude of, I don't need a man. And that too, to me, relates to daddy issues. Is, I don't need this. He wasn't there when I was growing up, and my mama did just fine. Not realizing that their mama was pregnant when she was 16 and you pregnant when you 14. And you know what I mean? It just goes on and on down the line. Because when grandmama is 34, and mama is 17, it's daddy issues that are involved, whether he's in the house or not. Like Georgia was saying, he could be very much so emotionally unavailable. He's just focused on what he wants in his lifestyle. And so that is more along the lines of what I see is, I don't need a man. I got my baby. You know what I mean? And with that too, it's not just the girls experiencing that, it's the boys too, because now a lot of these young boys are growing up to be, this is gonna sound really, really bad, but they're growing up to be more and more feminine because they're only being raised by women. That's all they have is an example, of how to be an adult is a woman.
Yep. We talk about that with men are a lot more emotional. display that. I want to play this before I hear from Ronan, because I think that I want to ask Ronan after this guy talks.
Good relationship with a strong, virtuous man in her life, ideally her father. Maybe if her father passed on when she was small, grandfather or an uncle, then she's often going to have a fear of abandonment tied into things like borderline personality disorder. And they often act out in such a way that it ensures that awful things happen. One of the things that I strongly recommend guys do when vetting a woman for anything on a long-term basis, whether it's dating or to raise children together, is make sure you're dealing with a woman that has a good relationship with her dad.
The reason I was waiting to ask you, Ronan, is because you said you dated a lot of women where you felt you had your cape on and you were like to save the women. So do you think that those women had daddy issues?
Some did, some did not. I even had a second wife who grew up in a what you would think it was a happy marriage. The mom and dad are still married to this day. They've been married for almost 60 some years. So did she have daddy issues? Maybe not feeling protected from her mother because her mom ran the household, where she might have thought her dad should have stepped up for her. And she used me as a barrier to protect her from her mother. She used me as the excuse of why she wouldn't do certain things that her mother was asking, especially when it came to monetary things. Her mom was always asking for money. So she would use me as that barrier. Well, I got to check with Alex first. And again, her mom was like, you don't need to tell him anything. Oh, absolutely. I need to tell Alex absolutely everything. Like, I'm going to not notice that you dishing off money to your mother. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. She was a retired lady that worked for Johnson & Johnson for 30 years. She had an income. She had a gambling problem, though. And she used to use my wife like a piggy bank, where the father would notice that his wife had a gambling problem and wouldn't speak to it. And so maybe in that respect, she felt less protected by her father, even though they were in a great marriage. And she had an example of a father all the time. She didn't leave her home until she married me. Even with an 8-year-old son, she was still in the house. Her family didn't kick her out. So she grew up in a very traditional home and still had issues when it came to, how she felt as far as emotionally available as far as her father and not protecting her from her mother because he wouldn't speak to his wife in that way.
So I'm gonna ask the panel: do you guys have daddy issues?
Turn what up? Is my mic too low?
No, I think that was the
video.
Oh, okay, my bad. I just saw that. Sorry, giving away trade secrets. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I'll speak in general. Then I'll also take this over to what I see oftentimes in therapy. And so one of the things that we talked about. I can't remember what show we did early on. And I talked about just the importance of me having a relationship with my father, because as I started going through the counseling program, I recognized many of the issues that I was dealing with was because I did not have my father in the home. And so as I got older, it was important for me to have that relationship, just to have some kind of connection and understanding on, why I was feeling the way that I was feeling, why I was doing some of the things that I was doing. And, you can't get back, 30 years of your life in 30 plus years of your life in a couple of years. But me having that relationship with him and reaching out and wanting to be consistent with seeing him anytime I would go home, it did make a big difference. Going through the counseling program, you're forced to deal with a lot of issues that sometimes we're there, other times you don't realize we're there. And that was one of the things that I struggled with was understanding how to be a mate in a relationship. Not understanding that it's a partnership and it wasn't a dictatorship, which I was feeling when, something was asked of me in a relationship, getting an attitude, you're not going to tell me what to do, because I didn't have that understanding of this is how men and women interact. This is how a husband and wife interact. This is how a mother and father interact. I didn't see that. So anytime there was an issue or disagreement in the relationship, my response was, you're not going to tell me what to do. I can do this on my own. Or I would leave. And so I always would pride myself on the fact that if a relationship was over, or if I was feeling something was going on shady in a relationship, I wasn't going to fight for the relationship. You can go. Because I never had a man in the house. I never saw my mother do that. So if there was an issue in the relationship, you might hear my mouth, but I'm not going to act crazy. I'm not going through your phone. I'm not chasing you down. I'm not begging you, all the things. So it was easy for me to walk away from relationships. That's not necessarily a good thing. So a lot of times when I see married couples come into therapy, that is another dynamic that pops up, is that the woman we talked about the man leading a lot. This happens oftentimes when you have a woman who was raised by her mom or raised with an absent father, or absent male role models in general, because there's other ways that women can see that dynamic. Right. But oftentimes in the marriage, they're butting heads because she wants to continue to be independent. This is all she's known. And now she's trying to be a married, independent woman. And that doesn't work.
Can I ask you a real quick question to follow up with what you said? Do you think having a weak father in the home can be just as detrimental as not having a father in the home?
That's a great question. Absolutely. A very passive father, a father who just doesn't engage, a father who doesn't make any of the decisions in the family, is the same outcome.
Okay. So one of the questions to go on that, because it says how they can show up, is a fear of abandonment or attachment anxiety. Do you think you had that? That's why it was easy. Like you never really got attached. It's like, well, I can walk away anytime I want, because you didn't have.
But I don't know that it would be. Fear of abandonment is just. I would say I would have anxiety about the relationship, but the fear of abandonment, you more so trying to hold on to the relationship versus. Or you sabotage it before anything happens. But my situation was, anytime there was a stressor in the relationship, I'm out. So, what'd you say?
I said you're dipping.
I'm dipping. I'm not arguing. I'm not hollering. I'm not doing any of that. I'm simply walking away. And so that was, that's an issue.
Or I guess the thing would be, how can I phrase it? I've dated women that it was almost like they were waiting for something to happen just to say, I told you so. Like the relationship was always, I knew you was going to do that, or I knew it wasn't always going to be pleasant. They were just waiting. They were never happy. And what really made them happy is the validation of something going wrong. And then it was like, yeah, I see.
Expecting it to fail. We talk about that a lot, self-fulfilling prophecy. When you continue to act a certain way, the outcome is going to be exactly what you expected. And so that would happen a lot of times, exactly what you're saying. But it's not that their behavior helped that to come to fruition. You continue to accuse your man of cheating, and you can continue to nag this, that, and the other. He's going to disengage. And eventually he's going to say, you know what? She thinks I'm doing it anyway. I'm going to do it. Right. So there's a way that a woman can act because of that fear of the relationship failing. There's a way that she can actually continue that sets things in motion.
Isn't that the old phrase that you're waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Correct.
Real quick, I just want to read out this $2 super chat from True Prodigy, the first super chat of the night. Thank you, True Prodigy, for supporting the channel and us. He says, salute to the panel. So he's saying hello to everybody on the panel.
Hello.
By the way, everybody looks really nice.
Yeah, American Live wanted to compliment the ladies on both of you looking amazing, as they would say.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. There's his quote right there. Mm-hmm. Just got to celebrate the lady. You both look amazing.
Oh, right. Thank you very
much.
So, Michaela, what about you? Daddy issues? You've seen it? Go ahead. Give us some background.
My daddy was a Marine.
But hold up, now that don't mean you didn't have daddy issues because
And what you
one of
mean?
That's exactly what that means.
Exactly. Thank you. Be truthful. I know
That's
I'm a Marine. I
exactly
know what I
that
did to my
means.
sons.
Yeah, that's exactly what that means. It's that's a hard thing to live up to. That is my experience is that you have the my story is different. I was not raised by my biological father. My father that raised me married my mom when I was 10 months old and stayed married to my mom for 24 years.
Oh well.
He was the only father that I knew. And raised me like I was his own. But with that comes that constant seeking of approval.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be that much better because did he like this? Did he like that? Was this okay? And then you start to do that throughout not just relationships with men, but in almost every relationship in your life, you're consistently looking for the other person's approval, and that is not a way to have a relationship. You're always giving, and people takers will always take. They don't have boundaries, and givers have a real hard time putting up boundaries. And so learning how to have that self-confidence and know that your best is good enough. You know what I mean? You don't have to consistently put yourself out there and go over and above and beyond, and you don't have to always seek someone else's approval. People use that and abuse it. And I think a lot of times parents don't realize that they do that to their kids. And so for me, it turned into, consistently being told, oh, you can't do that. You're a girl. Leave that to the guys. You can't go to prom. That's for boys, because if girls go to prom, this could possibly happen. But you're high-fiving your sons when they do that same thing. You know what I mean? Like different things like that happen throughout life. Like you can't talk to boys on the phone. You can't date at all while you're in school. You can't do these things that men can do because you're a woman. Made me want to go out there and be like, okay, well, watch this.
So I got a question on that.
Do it 10 different ways and bring you a t-shirt.
Do you think you and I'm not a psychiatrist, though I play one on TV. Just going from last week, do you think, and I've seen this with other women, not saying you, do you think you made that pendulum swing? Because the thing that you were saying last week was, my daughter can do whatever she wants. She can be this, she can be, you was like, she can be this independent woman. She can be a hairdresser as long as she's the best. So do you think you made that pendulum swing that way, and maybe not to the detriment, but saying, I'm raising an independent daughter? And I say
Absolutely.
that because a lot of women that I dated, that was one of the issues that I had, that they became so independent that they became independent of men. So it was, when you get in a relationship with them, it was, I don't need a man. And it was like, well, I need a woman. And they became so much like that it was a power struggle within the relationship. So do you think with the way you were raised that now you're raising children to be independent of men, especially that you have daughters?
No, not independent of men. Because I'm a firm believer we were not built to be alone. Nobody was built to be alone. We're made for companionship. We came from a man's rib. I am 100% firm believer in that. I don't think that we don't need men. What I do want my daughters to know is that, yeah, you are capable of doing whatever it is you want to do. And you don't have to have my approval to do that. So if you want to go out here and be a hairdresser, you better be the best hairdresser to come through here. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is that you want to do, make sure that you are the best at it. But I'm not going to tell you can't do something. I'm just not going to say that. I mean, a woman can't have a baby on her own. It's just not possible. You know what I mean? Like you have to have that person. You have to have that companionship. You have to have that loving relationship with someone. So I don't think that we don't need men. I think that that's completely false. But I do believe that a woman is capable of doing whatever it is she puts her mind to. And I want my kids to know that, because that's not how I was raised.
So
That's something I had to learn along the way.
Can you follow up with that and kind of break down, how do you teach your daughter that she needs to be a wife, but also be independent? How do you break that nuance down to your daughter to teach her to do both?
I'm not teaching her that she needs to be a wife. That's not a need. You don't have to be somebody's wife. I mean,
I didn't say. Well, let me rephrase need. So how do you?
Yeah, because you
see
still
your
owe me
daughter?
some coins from last
No,
week.
you haven't showed me. You haven't showed me where I had said it. And you got the transcript.
No,
So I'm
I didn't
still
get the
waiting.
transcript.
No, the
I didn't get
transcript
it.
is in the video, and
And
believe
it's
me, they
yeah.
already looked. It ain't in there. Okay. But can you break down the nuance of how you're raising your daughter to be a wife, not have to be wife, but if she is to get married, how she's supposed to treat her man, but also be independent at the same time?
And let me
What's that
piggyback on
nuance?
that so you understand. Usually when we raise boys to be men, the more money a man makes, the more he says he's ready to be with a family. The more so he becomes dependent to have a family. The more money a woman makes, it seems like she becomes independent of a man. You know, it's like a man makes money. It's like, hey, I'm ready to start my family. A woman makes money and be like, I'm independent of a man that don't need a man. So how do you, with what Ronan was
So,
saying, how do you nuance that?
no, yeah, I get it. So with my thing, it's not. I don't think that. I think that women choose to be independent of a man. The more money that they make, that's your choice. I'm a Christian. My Bible says a man that finds a wife finds a good thing, not a wife that finds a husband or a woman that finds a husband. So if your husband finds you and this man wants to make you his wife, I am a firm believer that God is going to give him the capacity to deal with the type of woman that you are. And he's going to give you the capacity to deal with the type of man that he is.
Oh
So
my
don't be
God.
unequally yoked. Don't be unequally yoked. If you are the same way, that's just like going and telling my daughter, don't go out there and try your hardest and make the best money that you can, because you're going to intimidate some men. Well, how about you don't be intimidated by how much money your wife makes? How about you don't be intimidated by a strong woman? I'm not saying be disrespectful. I'm not saying be the man of the house. The man, I do believe that the man is the head of the household. I'm not saying don't be so independent that you don't need him and you're like, no, I'm running this and I'm making the rules and I'm saying what we're going to do here and I'm saying what we're going to do there. No, don't be unequally yoked. So if you are with somebody who is insecure about the type of woman that you are or cannot handle the capacity of the woman that you are, like, move around,
So
find
how are
somebody
you
who
teaching your
can.
daughter that? How are you teaching your daughter that? Because you said a
That's
whole bunch of word salad, but how are you teaching your daughter those things to pick and choose the right kind of man, and then also the nuance
that's
of
by
being a
example.
wife?
That's by example, though, because what do I look like busting my butt to provide a home for my children, because I am divorced, right? So working so hard that I am providing my children a home, and then allowing somebody to come in here and just lay on my couch and eat chips because I like him. What does that look like?
Yeah,
Like,
but
no,
how are you
you
still
teach your
teaching your
child by example,
Hold on, I
because
think
so the behavior that I accept, shows them how, because I can't teach a man how to be a man. I can't raise a man on I can teach my daughters the type of behavior that they can accept. I can teach
right,
my
but just like you
daughters
said,
how the treatment
if
that
a
they can
man finds a
accept.
wife, he finds a good thing, but yet and
Right.
still you're not raising your daughter to be a wife. So how is she gonna be found?
I'm raising my daughter to be a good person. I'm raising my daughter to
But
be a good
that's
woman.
not what you just quoted. You quoted, if a man finds a
I'm not
wife, he
raising her
finds
to
a good
be,
thing.
all
yeah.
right? So let me reverse it on you. I can be a good man, but not a good husband.
You
So
absolutely
my
could
dad,
be.
so that's what I'm saying. My dad could raise me to be a great man, but didn't tell me how to be a husband. So me being a great man
Hmm.
means nothing if I
Hmm.
want to get married. It's not a qualification for me to get married.
Hmm.
So you raising your daughter to be a great woman does not translate into her being a great wife.
No, it doesn't. I believe that's
So
an example that I have to set for her. I believe the way that I care and I love who my companion is an example to my daughters of how to be a great wife. How do I treat him? How do I respect him? How do I revere? How do I show him reverence in our household? That is how you teach him. It's not about making sure his drawers are folded and ironed and in perfect little squares in the closet and all this other. It's not about that. How am I treating him? How do I respect him behind closed doors, in public, in front of y'all, in front of family and friends? It don't matter wherever we are. How am I treating this man? How do I
Mhm.
respect him? How do I respect his word? Do we argue? Do I raise my voice at him? Am I talking crazy to him? Am I respecting what he does? Am I caring about him? Am I trying to be nurturing to him? It's not saying that we're perfect. We're going to have arguments, but how do I handle those arguments? Am
you
I
teach your
going and
daughters
talking
how to
crazy
cook.
about him behind our back? Absolutely.
All right.
Georgia, do you have
Absolutely.
something? Because you kind of kind of like peaked up a little bit. I read body language, so
it was when you were talking about raising raising a daughter to be a wife. And, one of the things that I often find is that when you have women who, I feel like some of the women are torn between wanting to be corporate women or, the money earner, and still wanting to be a wife, but not knowing how that looks in the home. And so what I often find is that you have a lot of women out there who are in these relationships where they're not happy because they feel like they are not their authentic selves because they don't want to intimidate the husband. And then you have women out there who are taking the lead and they don't know how to, there's not a balance there. So I see the extremes on both sides when it comes to women who are being raised without the father in the home. You have some very successful women out there who are married and they don't, and I'm going to say something, I might get pushback.
Say it.
You have women who are out there who are in the corporate world and they have to present one way.
Mm-hmm.
And they come home and they don't know how to turn it off.
Correct.
And so there's this battle and they can't understand why the husband is miserable and why we're not communicating this, that, and the other. Well, because you're talking to him like he's one of your employees or you're running a business meeting and you're not, this is not what this looks like in the home. So there's no conversation about, how the house is run. It's my way or no way. There's just a lot of conflict, whether it's the extreme of the woman wanting to run the home or the woman taking a back seat because she doesn't want to intimidate the man. So it all boils down to, in both households, they're not communicating. And for some reason, there's a fear of communicating. So.
My dad always taught me. My dad always told me when I was younger that the way you show a man you love him is how you respect him. That was the teaching that we grew up with in our home. That my dad was like, men always equate respect to love. That was the example that I had. My dad was like, disrespect was a no-go. But at the same time, I grew up with a mother who was very passive. I grew up with a mother it was his word. That's it. Just no questions asked. I'm not questioning it. I'm not pushing back. I'm not throwing in my 2 cents. This is just
but was his
is.
word in error though? Here's the problem. A lot of women take that as she was being submissive. But if the man was smart enough to lead her and she trusted and respected him to lead her, then was that really being submissive or understanding her role? We are looking at that a whole nother way. Why wouldn't
it may be submissive to you, but for me, when I'm growing up in a household and my brothers are allowed to do all of these things, date, have girlfriends, play sports, go out and be at parties and go to prom and dances and stuff like that, and I'm not allowed to do any of that, and the fact that I rebelled against it and went and played sports, I was punished for it. To me, the no pushback for that was being passive. Because in my eyes, what's good for the goose is what's good for the gander. Either I'm going to raise my children to be this way and I'm going to allow them the opportunity to make those mistakes and be able to correct those mistakes, or I'm going to keep this one completely hidden away. And
you quote the Bible a lot. Do you understand?
My question to you,
you quote the Bible a lot. But do you understand your father was in charge of covering you and protecting
I understand that.
you?
I understand he was in charge of covering all of us, but at the same time,
but there's
I was the best child he had. I was the one that stayed out of trouble.
There's a certain way that you have to cover a female versus a male.
But we're not in the Old Testament anymore.
So my question would be this: Are men and women the same?
No.
Boys and girls the same?
No, we're biologically different. Yes.
All right. So if you're different, aren't there some things that maybe you should be treated differently with?
It would be one thing to say, oh, you know what?
And I say that because a lot of women say, I want to do everything a man can do.
I'm not saying I want to do everything a man can do.
But you kind of just said it. My brothers can do this. My brothers could do that. And I couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't say I wanted
to do what the men could do.
No, it's not what I said. I said that they could do all the things that I
That's an
couldn't do. I didn't say
interesting
I wanted to do
question.
everything that they wanted to do. I wanted to play sports. I wanted to play volleyball. I wanted to run track because I was good at it.
That's an interesting question
So
Bacchus asked. Do you raise your
I
boys
didn't.
to act like a girl? So why would a
I don't
man
have
raise
boys,
his girls
so
to
I
act like
only
a
have
boy?
girls.
But that's the whole thing. You don't. Boys are raised differently than girls, and until you experience
Mhm.
having a boy in your life, you're going to understand that boy needs to have certain types of things to get out the extra testosterone he has in his system that he needs to deal with. He has to
So women
understand how
shouldn't
to
play
be
sports? Is
socialized.
that what you're saying?
Hold on. I didn't say that. You're bringing out one particular point in general to just your experience, but I'm saying in general, men and boys and girls have different things that they need to learn in development. And sports might not have been a priority necessarily in his mind for you, but for a boy, it is very important to get him into social and competitive things early in life because he's got to compete against everybody on this planet if he's going to be a provider, protector, and be successful at it.
Do you know that? Okay, let me ask you this question. Do you believe that Black women are some of the most unprotected people in this country?
And it's sad to say, and yes, I understand they are.
So,
And that's
so with that,
No, but
wait, stop.
yeah,
You can't continue that question without letting me clarify. And unfortunately, because of this same topic of daddy issues and fathers not being in a home to protect their daughters, do you not know Black men are some of the best fathers worldwide? They want to
where
be
are
with their
they?
kids. Hold on. They want to be with their kids. This is statistically proven. Black fathers are some of the best fathers there are out there statistically, even better than whites. We care about our children, but if we're not allowed to be in the home to protect them, then what are you saying? What can we do to do that in
Well,
addition to? If I
I
live
think
down the corner and around the block and you give my daughter permission to go out and do something with some boy I don't have any knowledge of, never got to vet him or anything, but you think it's okay for him to go out or take her out, and he doesn't even know that I would basically go bury him in the backyard because he's never seen me, then how is
that's
she
a
being
blanket
protected?
statement because you're saying it like every Black man wants to be in the home with their child, and I see
Oh, I would
differently.
say the majority of them, and
I see
statistically it's
differently.
true.
I see
You
differently in what we deal
see,
with in the streets
but
and what we see out
that's
and
again,
we deal with on our package.
your eyes can only see so much, but that's why we go to statistics because statistics give you a broader range appeal
And
of
where are
what
your statistics
everybody else.
coming from?
I'll
What
bring him up
area are
right.
your statistics
I
coming
think what
from?
he's saying is you have anecdotal experience, and
And,
anecdotal is just
but here's the thing: statistics are statistics are based on certain areas, right? You are not covering the entire Black community. You are not covering every Black man and then saying, okay, out of all of us, this percentage of men want to be in the home. You're saying from this area over here, we took a poll, and this amount of men say they wish they could be in the home with their families. But if you go to this area over here, and this amount of men could care less what their kids are doing or if they're in the home or not in the home, then those statistics are going to be different from what you're looking at.
Are
So
you reading
what
the
that's
screen
what I'm
right now
saying.
while you're talking?
You can't just make that statement and then say this is for all the Black community.
Are you reading the screen while you're talking?
No, I was actually looking at you while I was talking.
Go ahead and
I
take a
was
look at
finishing my
the
statement
screen.
like you asked me to let you finish
Okay,
yours.
that's fine. Do you see what it says?
Yeah. But does that say it's because if fathers aren't allowed in the home?
Why wouldn't fathers be allowed in the home unless the mother is stopping them from being there?
I didn't say that. I said, does that say that fathers aren't being allowed in the
I mean,
homes?
I got more
So
statistical
it's
facts. If
not,
you want me to keep
it's
flipping facts, I can
I
do
mean, no,
that
you
all
can
day.
flip all the facts you want to, but my question is why do you just assume that the mothers are keeping the fathers out of the home?
Oh, are we going down that road for real?
We are. We're there. We've been driving on this highway.
All right, I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead, Fearless.
I forgot the question I was going to ask.
No, we're gonna bring up some statistics, and I kind of
Uh,
pulled up those real quick before you pulled up yours. But she
I
asked, what was
forgot.
the statistical data on fathers being, or especially Black fathers, being sought after and are actually better
No, I didn't
fathers than
ask
most?
where was the data. I said where was the data coming from? Like where did they go and get these people from that said that? That's what I'm asking. Do you get what I was saying with that? I'm saying if you're going to poll the black
There-
community, poll the entire black community, and
There
then pull
is
the statistics from
there is
that.
a specific website. It's called blackgeographicdata.com or something like that. You can pull down all statistical data on just black people. That's what the whole website
And
is
that's
about.
every black
On
household.
all different things from
Hold on.
income
Stop.
to marriages to
You
everything
can't do
else.
that. That's unfair for you to do that. Even if we do a poll of who is going to be president, they never went to everybody's house and do it. That's not how polls work. Polls go into specific places and say, hey, we're taking a section of the neighborhood, a section of this demographics, this, and then from that you can analyze and say, oh, there's no way that you can go to
No, I
10 million
understand
people
that.
and ask that question.
What I'm saying is that, okay, that poll maybe come from over here, but over here where we're in the neighborhood, in the community, it's not the moms
But it goes
keeping the
through a
fathers
slice through
out.
all of that. So it would be wealthy people, poor people, fathers who aren't there, fathers that are there. They take a whole slice, and that's how they come up with that statistic. It's a whole
I
slice.
know, I understand how statistics work. I get that. I get what you're saying. What I am saying is that the neighborhoods that we deal with, the neighborhoods that we go to,
That you say the
it
fathers
is
don't want to be
all
there.
women and children. It is not the
Have you
moms
ever
keeping the
asked them?
dads out.
All right. So have you?
Absolutely. Yeah. No.
When they
We
said the
asked.
dad didn't want to be here.
This is the website I get a lot of my data from. It's from blackdemographics.com. And it's all about black people and all the statistics that you can possibly imagine. You can ask it. And there's a poll on here or data from research that speaks to just black people. So, I mean, you can pull through this as your leisure, but this is where some of the data is that I get it from. So go ahead. I just wanted to show you.
So you're saying you go to a poor neighborhood and they're saying, oh, the dad didn't want to be here.
When we ask questions, absolutely. Now it's not just moms.
So,
Some of the dads
who are you
are there,
asking?
and the
Hold up.
dads are
Who are
like,
you
"Hey, the
asking
moms aren't."
questions to? The women?
Those are the only people that are there. The women and the children. The dads
All right.
aren't there.
If I asked you who was the bad person in your relationship and your marriage, who would you say? The man, because I'm asking you.
No,
but if I
but you
asked
didn't let me
him the
answer
same,
that
hold up.
question.
If I
Let her
asked him
answer.
the
Let
same
her
You
question,
didn't let me answer the question.
but I'm
answer.
saying
You let
if
me
you
answer
ask
it.
somebody else the same question, he would say something completely different. So you're asking the person who already feels bitter, and what response
No,
do
I'm
you want
not
them to
better.
give?
No, that's not fair because you asked the question and then you answered it
Okay,
and
go
then
ahead.
went and said that somebody else would say something totally
All
different.
right.
I think our
Do you
marriage
think?
just didn't work.
No, not
That's what
you.
I
I'm
think.
saying you asked those women in those
So they're
neighborhoods
my
who was
children.
responsible, and they said the man, right?
This is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that at these events, it is women and children and the people that help in the community. It's not just the women saying these things, and they're not all saying the father didn't want to be here. They're not all saying that. The majority of them are. It's not just the women, it is the teachers, it is the community leaders that are there that know these people. And when I have 4 and 5 different women coming up with children from the same man, and he's nowhere to be found and doesn't want to be found, I mean, that does kind of speak to the fact that he does not want to be in the home.
But do you realize that 80% of the children are being born by 20% of men in our community alone?
Oh, I don't doubt that.
So you
That's
just
what I was just
outright
saying with the
said
same
that women
dad
are
having
sleeping with
all
the
these
same
kids
fathers.
everywhere.
Correct.
Mhm.
We have more black men that don't have children than black men that do.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all.
So do
But
you
out of
think?
the ones that do, this is
All
what
right.
we're
So let
talking.
me
We're not
ask you
talking about
that
the ones that
question.
don't.
You just said that woman had a child with a man who has several other children.
hmm
All right. Say she's baby mama number 3.
hmm
She didn't see from baby number 1 that he wasn't there, and she chose him. She didn't see he wasn't there for baby mama number 2, and she chose him. So she became baby mother number 3. And what
hmm
does she expect to happen?
Can
So
I ask? Can I ask a question though? Are we
yes.
going to continue to find different ways to blame the woman, or are we just going to sit up here and
Oh,
say, "Hey, this guy is out here
oh no, hold up.
making babies and
I'll
choosing
say my
not to raise
grandmother said
them"?
it best. A woman runs faster with a dress up than with a man with his pants pulled down.
Oh my gosh,
If a woman,
Really?
if
this
You
a
know
is
what,
woman,
so
Fearless?
terrible.
you're gonna tell
That
me
is
if a
so
woman sees this
terrible.
man, because a woman, no matter what you say,
But
unless
ain't
she
this
is
about daddy issues where
sexually,
she's looking for love, and this man is acting like he's gonna love her?
unless she is sexually assaulted, a woman makes the choice for the man. A man can ask all day long, let me get that. Let me get that. It is the woman that says yes. So she is saying yes to that man, knowing that he has other baby mamas that he's not taking care of. He wasn't taking care of them. So she's making a choice not to choose the best person to be with. And then she blames him for being. Where's that?
Like she got daddy issues. Ain't that what this
let me
is
play
about?
that radio.
Hold on, Fearless. So I see both sides of this, and so one of the people that sticks out to me is Nick Cannon.
Yes. What's the dude starts with an F? What's his name?
Fame.
Fearless. No, that's
Fame.
Fame.
Is it?
I'm just
He got the baby mama with
the football player. Yeah. God damn it. Famous? I can't even remember the dude's name. It's terrible.
Michaela, I love you.
What's his name?
So, I don't know what it is.
Somebody that knows this dude's name begins with the damn F.
He always got a thing even quote.
He said she's for the streets. Whoever that dude is begins with an F. He's a rapper and was married to Sierra or had a kid by Sierra.
Oh, Future.
Man. We called him everything but the name of God.
So, going back to Nick Cannon and the fact that, I hear what you're saying. These women are attracted to the dollar signs and the potential of getting money out of having a child. And so I definitely see what you're talking about. When it comes to it, and it's interesting because it's like you all continue to blame the woman for having multiple children. The men are out there; they're participating, and these are men who have no intention of having a relationship with these women, have no intention of marrying these women, and they continue to reproduce with different women.
These are the losers. So the woman always says, "I got this women intuition." Where was that intuition when she was meeting a man who wasn't going to be with her anyway? They have this intuition.
But then how does it fall on the woman that it's now her responsibility? It's his responsibility to also put on a condom. So if your intention is not to be with this woman, then why are you not protecting yourself?
His intention was never to be with the women. He showed you that with woman number 1. He showed you that with number 2. He showed you that with number 3. I would say the same thing.
You just said this. You just said this earlier. You said if a relationship doesn't work, she said it was him. He was the bad guy. But then you go ask him, he's going to have a different story. So if this man is over here wooing this woman,
he was the bad guy.
But this is what. No, but let me finish. He has all the excuses in the world as to what she was or wasn't doing and how he's a changed man and how he really wants this woman. And he's wooing her and she already got daddy issues and is looking for somebody to love her. And she's falling in love with him or thinking that he really cares about her, really wants her. And then he does the same thing. And then he moves on to the next. Maybe he got a cold mouthpiece. I
agree with you. There are snakes on both sides of the house. Men are snaky. And so are women. Women know exactly what they're doing when they're looking at a certain man. And this is the thing that's been announced since my body, my right, my choice, all this other stuff. Women control access to sex. Men control access to marriage. So at the end of the day, if you're laying down with him, you're controlling that. The man can't force himself on you. So at the point that you're
say yes to both. She got to say yes to sex and the ring.
Yeah, and that man's got to have that cold mouthpiece to talk her into it. But if she's non-observant and don't know that this guy's got 5 other kids and she's just letting that go based on whatever the hell he's saying, you get what I'm saying? Yes, it's both of their faults for laying down and making a child. Yeah, I'm not taking away the responsibility of that man. Unfortunately, it's the 20% of the men that are making the other 70% or 80% look bad. That are actually good, decent men. But again, then we get into the whole sphere of, does that man measure up to be of value to the woman and be respected? Is he making 6 figures? Is he 6 foot? And all the things that women want nowadays based on whatever society is dictating a successful man is, whether he's a good man or not. He can be a successful man and be a dick. But you guys don't care about that as long as he hits those parameters. Then you find out later he is that guy that's an asshole and you wind up wanting to leave him, but you're already pregnant by him or already had 2 kids by him before you realize it. Somebody's got to pick a fucking side.
Okay. So I'm going to, I hate to say this, and I hear what you're saying, Ronan. I do hear what you're saying. One of the things that
Happy. You know what? Can we get Happy up here? I want to get Happy
Yeah,
up
we'll
here.
bring him up. Let's get through this, and I got a few more to go through.
What
No,
is
Happy is the science of manliness. He's a see.
So, I was just like,
out of the box or something. Look at that. Already had that attitude coming out.
Yes, who is that?
So one of the things that I often have to challenge women who come into therapy is their relationship with their child's father or their children's fathers. And why, asking why aren't you getting help, number one, and then why isn't the father involved in the child's life? And I think I brought this up a few shows ago. Sometimes there's really no reason that the father's not involved other than he didn't want a relationship with her. And so now he's making things different. So I hate to admit that, but that is something that I often see in therapy. Then I also see the side of a woman who has multiple children by multiple different men. And she never stepped back to ask the question, are you taking care of your other children? And what does that look like? Is it financial, or are you also present in their lives? Mm-hmm. And so I have to fault the woman who is out there having children by these men, knowing that these men are not actively participating in their child's life. Paying child support is not actively participating in your child's life. Right. And so I fault the woman who has 3 different baby daddies, and she's mad that she's having to foot the bill for all of her kids. Well, you set yourself up for that because you chose to lay down with a man unprotected. I'm all for a woman having sex just because she enjoys sex, but protect yourself. Don't produce a child out of something that there's no intention or no path for it to be a marriage. And then why are we putting ourselves in these situations to get pregnant outside of marriage? That doesn't make sense to me. And then the next man that comes along, he's got all these things. You just said it, Ron. He's got to make 6 figures. He's got to be 6 foot. He's got to be 6 inches. He got to lay it down in bed. Make it make sense. You had a child by Pookie who worked at the corner store with maybe a high school diploma. And now the next man that comes along, you have 3 children by 3 different men. And now the next man that comes along has to be college educated and making 6 figures. And you want him to sign up to take care of Pookie's kids. Mm-hmm. Make it
Pookie and everybody else's kids.
Correct. So, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot. There's fault on the man's side. There's fault on the woman's side. But at the end of the day, what I'm seeing most when it comes to absent fathers, as far as their children, is that, again, you are having a child by a woman who didn't have a father. So she doesn't even respect the importance of what it means to have a man in the home. Again, she's carrying on generational, I hate to say it, generational curses. She doesn't feel the importance of it. So then
it's real.
It is real. And you're saying my kid is going to be fine without the father. You're not fine without your father. But now you're raising a generation of absent men, and you're okay with not trying to have some type of co-parenting relationship. And all because of what? Because he doesn't want to have a relationship with you? Well, that should have been figured out before you got pregnant.
But see, these same women are raising young boys that are now seeing their mother accept this treatment, and they go out and treat women like this because that's all that they see.
Correct.
I've played this before, so this is to go back when you said I'm blaming the men. I just went. The radio host says it much better than I can say.
Base Giga Chad radio host. What's this?
Why don't you ever talk about the men that don't pay child support?
Because it's women like you spread your legs with guys like that. Why don't you ever talk about the responsibility of women who choose irresponsible males to procreate with and then complain later when they're irresponsible?
No.
The women who have one night with a bartender or a guy on a motorcycle or a musician, and then you complain later on the guy's a deadbeat. He was a deadbeat to begin with.
Why nobody can ever talk to you because you don't let
people talk to me all day long. You can't talk talk to me.
No, I'm trying to talk to you, and you're talking over.
Dear, don't tell me I have to do a radio show. I've been doing this for 25 years. I don't need your help.
Oh, okay. Let me. Can I please just say this?
You know this guy wears wraparound sunglasses. There's no chance he doesn't.
I was married once before, okay?
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I had a child together.
Right. Yeah.
After I was tired of him beating me for 2 years, I left him.
Really? But why did you tolerate it for 2 years? Can you tell me why you tolerated being beaten for 2 years? I'd like to hear about this.
My answer to that is because I was young and stupid.
Okay, I agree with you.
There you go.
You were stupid. No doubt about it. And now what are you going to complain that he doesn't pay child support? A guy who beat you for 2 years? Imagine that. The guy is irresponsible.
Right.
He beat me for 2 years, and now that deadbeat doesn't pay.
So why is it my
There's your big concern. Now we see why you're so upset about this. You chose a manifestly irresponsible, violent individual to procreate with. Then you're amazed that the guy doesn't send you child support.
He didn't.
You're still. You know what, dear? You were young and stupid. Now you're old and stupid. I mean, you're still stupid.
Oh my God,
you are still stupid. You expect a guy who beat you for 2 years now to suddenly become responsible.
I cannot even believe
You're insane.
It is unbelievable.
You can't believe what?
I can't believe that you're still on the radio.
I'm on the radio because I'm right, and I'm on the.
She wants to get him taken off, bro. She wants to get this guy kicked off the radio.
Because I've got millions of listeners. That's why.
Yeah, well, you've just lost one.
Dear, you're not the target demographic. I really don't give a rat's ass. I'll bet your husband would agree with me. I'll bet your ex-husband would really agree with me.
Oh,
she hung
wow.
up.
Damn.
So that goes back to what you were saying about who's choosing who. And I'm saying you knew he was a deadbeat when you got with him. I don't understand. So when you say I'm in the neighborhood and I see this guy and he's been in the hood and he slept with this neighbor, all of them people. And the woman is wondering why he's not treating me different. Why isn't he paying child support to me? He didn't pay child support to nobody. You chose him. And you keep blaming the man for. All right. There's an old story. Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you the old story that my mama used to tell me about the what was it? The frog and the scorpion. Frog, a scorpion comes up to the frog and says, "Hey, I got to cross the river." He's like, man, can I get a ride?" The frog is like, "Look, man, I can't give you a ride. Why not?" "Because I know you're gonna sting me." He says, "Sting you? Why would I do that?" He said, "If I sting you, we're both gonna die." He said, "Man, I don't want to take you across this river." But the scorpion convinces him. So he gets on the frog's back. They start going through the river. Next thing you know, the scorpion feels a sting and he starts going down. He said, "The frog, scorpion, how could you do this to me?" He said, "You knew I was a scorpion when I got on your back. It's in my nature." So you knew the type of man he was when you slept with him. It was in his nature. There was nothing you're going to do to change him. Go ahead.
So is it so are you saying it's the woman's fault for people having daddy issues? I'm trying to figure it out because everything that has been said so far has been blamed on the woman. She knew he was a deadbeat dad. She knew this. She shouldn't have done that. All of these different things have become the woman's fault. But we're talking about people with daddy issues and how they're raised and going into relationships and things like that. But it seems like it should be mommy issues because everything that y'all have said so far has pointed towards the woman being at fault for all of this being an issue.
Well, no, I don't. Let me. So Michaela, I hear what you're saying, and one of the things that, again, this is a common theme that comes up in therapy, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. And so I feel like when it comes to the older generation and the absent fathers, there's many reasons why. Parents of my mother's generation, why the father wasn't in the home. Either it was the war, working in the fields, blah, blah, blah. So there's a different dynamic there, but it still plays out the same. There's still issues that our aunts and mothers had because of that absence. Now, is that the father's problem or is it the mother's problem? That, to me, that's not necessarily anybody's issue. It was a need that had to be filled back then. But the impact was the same. The fallout was the same. And so you have, in that situation, you have fathers who were emotionally unavailable. They were in the home taking care of the home, but they were not emotionally available. And so then you have the next generation having kids, and whatever happens, whether, you know, a fallout, divorce, whatever, the importance of having the father in the home is not there, because the mother was raised in a situation where the father was in the home, but he was not emotionally available. And so then as the importance of a man being at home begins to diminish. And then, you know, the woman is fighting more because, you know, there's not a relationship, and not fighting for the fact, okay, there's not a relationship, but this man needs to be in my child's life. So I feel like over the years, the importance of the man being in the home has been diminished for many different reasons. Now, this generation, I feel women are making the choice to keep fathers out of the home. And it's because of whatever issues they have, they can't resolve them enough to get to the point of recognizing my child needs his father, whether it's a little girl or a little boy. That woman is not able to resolve whatever's going on with her enough to say, okay, we need to make this work. So somebody asked what emotionally available, unavailable. That's what I'm talking about. Men who are in the home physically, but emotionally unavailable. So they're basically paying the bills. They're making sure the household is running, or they're the support system for their wife. They're disconnected with their kids. They don't sit down and have any type of one-on-one with the kids. They're simply a warm body in the home. That's what I mean by emotionally unavailable. And unfortunately, women who were raised in households where their father was emotionally unavailable, there are higher chances of marrying a man who is emotionally unavailable. Because again, you marry what you know. Oftentimes people think they're marrying against what they were raised in, and that's not the case. You marry what you know.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of women say, I want to marry somebody like my father.
Yeah, but I don't think that women are the only ones having daddy issues.
No, all right, hold up. Stop. Thank you for my lead way. I'm going to show you 4 pictures. And I want the chat to help me out. I want you to tell me which one of these men have daddy issues. Let's start with number 1.
Daddy issues.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think Donald Trump got daddy issues.
Hell yeah, he got daddy issues.
His father was emotionally unavailable.
Yeah.
He's on the
Person
spectrum.
number 2.
Yes, definitely daddy issues. His dad wasn't even around.
But he looks like a pretty awesome dad to me.
Correct.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether he had daddy issues. He corrected them. I had daddy issues. I corrected them.
I don't know enough about Bill Clinton to know.
Yeah, I don't know enough.
Oh, he most definitely had daddy issues.
Why?
Hold up. I'm gonna go through them all. So it was a trick question.
Bill Clinton.
You know why it's a trick question? Because they all had daddy issues.
I just don't know about Clinton's daddy.
Why?
Yep. I'm going to go through the first one. Let me go through the first one. Let me see if I can get him on here. I got to jump to 150 on here. Daddy issues. Trump. 150.
Trump's daddy.
Multiple arrests. Trump's sweeping real estate portfolio included around 27,000 apartments and homes within New York City. But in 1966, the state's investigation commission took a closer look into his income. The agency investigated potential windfall profiteering, which refers to a person receiving a sudden, unexpected profit. Officials speculated the real estate tycoon exaggerated his construction costs to obtain grants from the government, and then took the leftover money and put it into his many other real estate properties.
250. Maybe it was 250.
Like father, like son when it comes to that trick.
Which included both Fred and Donald Trump, were sued by the Civil Rights Division different experience. She told allegedly had a far different experience. She told NPR, they greeted me with open arms and showed me every aspect of the apartment. Based on the evidence, the Civil Rights Division officials accused the Trump family of violating the Fair Housing Act of 1968. The Justice Department sued the company, with the defendants countersuing the department for $100 million for false accusations. The parties settled the case.
Where is this book? Yep, here we go.
of the businessman. His granddaughter Mary published her memoir, Too Much and Never Enough: How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man, in 2020, making shocking allegations about Fred and how his behavior influenced Donald.
My father liked to win.
With information given to her by her aunt, Mary Ann Trump Berry, Mary claimed that her grandfather was a high-functioning sociopath. She accused him of racist and sexist behavior in the book, as well as neglecting his son in his most crucial years. She wrote, having been abandoned by his mother for at least a year, and having his father fail not only to meet his needs, but to make him feel safe or loved, valued or mirrored, Donald suffered deprivations that would scar him for life. Mary also alleged in the memoir that Fred gave Donald a distorted view of emotions, teaching his son to run at the first sign of weakness. She wrote, by limiting Donald's access to his own feelings and rendering many of them unacceptable, Fred perverted his son's perception of the world and damaged his ability to live in it.
He had no empathy.
Mary Trump further...
So that's Donald Trump. Hold up. Now we said, where's our next person at? Let me bring him up. And I'm just showing you that sometimes whoever we think is still good.
Who think Donald Trump is good?
Hold up. Who think you said Obama was good?
A lot like that. I didn't have a dad in the house. And I was angry about it, even though I didn't necessarily realize it at the time. I made bad choices. I got high without always thinking about the harm that it could do. I didn't always take school as seriously as I should have. I made excuses. Sometimes I sold myself short. And I remember when I was saying this, Christian, you may remember this, after I was finished, the guy sitting next to me said, are you talking about you?
Now, if you remember, what happened with him was his dad left. His dad went back to Africa, left him there. He was grown up by his grandmother. He had abandonment issues. He always felt that he wasn't good enough. He never felt like that. Bill Clinton. Reason I said Bill Clinton was not born Bill Clinton. He actually had a different last name. His actual dad died in a car accident when he was when his mother was 6 months pregnant. So he was actually raised by his stepdad, and he adopted his name because he felt sorry for him. But his stepdad, it says, suffered from alcoholism, abusive towards the family. He said he loved his stepfather Roger, but alcoholism, gambling, and the family abuse, where Bill would often intervene and mostly get his father arrested. So he had daddy issues because he never had his actual dad. With his stepfather, it was always an abusive relationship. The next person I brought up was George Bush. George Bush never felt that he was the one because his father actually picked Jeb to be run for president, not George. George was the one who always felt that he was not good enough, that he didn't live up to it. So all of these men got there, had daddy issues, and so in a sense, they were compensating for something. There's something missing, and they always had to try to strive to say, well, I can be good. Trump's dad said, oh, you're not that good, you can never be president. So what he had to do, oh, I can do this, I can do it. The same with when it came to Obama. You're not good enough, your dad left you, you got a funny name, you grew up in Indonesia, they left you back, because his sister grew up with the dad. Obama didn't. He grew up with his grandparents. Bill Clinton, even though he was a Rhodes Scholar, he did all of that, he still had to deal with the alcoholism of his father. George Bush, his dad, head of the CIA. He went to private schools, messed up, dropped out. He was not a good guy. So they all had to live up to it. So when you say, where are the men with daddy issues? I just showed you 4 of the most powerful ones. And also say, in a sense, in order for you to almost get to a stage in there, you almost have to have daddy issues. So it's not just men that strive to that gets it. There's sometimes
had an affair with Willie Brown, 30 years older than her. She has some serious daddy issues. It's funny. You never see her real dad.
That's wrong. That's
wrong. That's the truth, though.
Hey, let me read this super chat from Darnell Elliott. It's a question for Miss Georgia, or a statement. It says, because men are becoming obsolete for women, think about it. What does a woman need a relationship with a man for if she can make her own money, You can call a repairman if something breaks, and there are sex robots or, you know what I'm saying, play toys, so she can satisfy herself.
Well, I mean, I are we playing another video?
No.
No,
So no, one of the things again with working with a lot of women who work in corporate America who are single, they don't want to be single. And these are women who are making $200,000 a year plus. And, you know, they don't want to be single, but then they're also in these pretty high power positions. And again, it's hard for them to turn it off. And it's also hard to find, you know, speaking from being in Georgia in general, the ratio for men and women is off. I mean, the men have the pick of the litter. And so you've got these women out there who are in these positions who want to look for, you know, an African American man, and the ratio is not on. It's off. So the women out there who are working, who are making money and making things happen in the world, they don't want to necessarily be single. It's just that it's slim pickings. And do you date somebody who, you know, there's an economic gap like that? And you, with that, you're also dealing with some men who are insecure and are not going to be able to be in that relationship.
I gotta push back a little bit. There's a lot of plumbers out there. There's a lot of contractors out there. There's a lot of brothers out there doing a lot of damn good and are making a lot of damn money. But because they don't fit that perfect mold of what women right now in society wants, they get passed over for that bad boy or the one that's sitting there and gotten 4 and 5 babies with a guy that's sitting there that would be the perfect husband for him. She's going to skip right over him.
Well,
I don't think that's accurate.
That is
because
very
a lot of these guys that do have daddy issues, something like he just showed us 4 of the most powerful men that have daddy issues, right? You can find somebody who is making this money and over 6 foot and all of these great things, but wants you to treat him like his mama treated him. His daddy wasn't there and he was raised by mama, so now he's looking for a woman to treat him like his mama raised him. And that's not something that, if you are really working past your daddy issues, which you guys say everybody has daddy issues, okay. If somebody is really working to be better, I'm working to be better. I'm not working to be your mama. And I'm not looking for a man who is trying to be my dad. I'm looking for a man who's going to be the head of the household. I'm looking for a man who's going to lead and is not afraid to lead. And at the same time, is not going to treat me like I'm his mama. Like, does that make sense?
But don't
I mean,
women want a man that they can cry on their shoulder and confide in him when she's having a tough
who got
time?
time to cry these days? Like,
That's a problem.
really, who has time to cry these
That's
days?
a problem.
It is a problem. It's sad, the world that we live in. It is. I completely agree with you. It's a problem. But what I'm saying is that it's like you guys go from one extreme to the next. It's like, oh, we need this guy that is all of these things and he's making all this money and he's this tall and he's, you know, this well endowed and he's great in the bed.
We didn't set that standard.
And at the
Y'all
same
did.
time,
we didn't set that standard. Women have set that standard in society.
I understand what you're saying. What you're saying, right? But at the same time, y'all are also saying that while we want this, we can't be successful too.
No, here's the thing. I don't think a man, or let me just speak for me or the men that I talk to.
Yeah.
We don't care about a woman's success, whether they're successful or not. What happens is how you change. And the reason I'll say that is I talk to women who say, I hate having a woman boss. And I'm like, why? They're like, because when a woman gets in a position of power, they are completely different than when a man gets in a position of power. The way they treat the employees, the way they act, the way they do all of that, it's almost like someone who never had that power and they get it and they become power hungry. So I know women who say, I'd rather work for another man than a woman. And that's how it is in a relationship. Meaning when you finally get some money, all of a sudden your whole control, I'm this, I'm that.
I think Jordan spoke to that already. She just said it's hard for a woman to turn it off when you have to be this certain way in a workplace and then
so
come home
whose
and be
fault
soft.
is that?
It's not easy.
Whose fault is that? So you're saying we intimidated? It's not been intimidated. We just don't want to deal with the attitude. We don't want to have to deal with all of that. It's like why
And
I
if
got to
you're
deal with
working
you
that
being a
type of
woman?
job, why are you
Yeah,
working that
and
type of job that's going to disturb you like that, to where you have to come outside of your frame and your femininity to work it?
And you're talking to a man. If you're saying you're a successful woman, you're most likely looking for a successful man. So tell me, what type of successful man is going to deal with your attitude because he can have 90% of the women. See, as a man, if I make 150,000, most likely I can date a woman who makes about 180,000, maybe even 200. But I can also date a woman who makes 20,000. You as a woman who makes 150,000, you can only go up. And it's very slim once you go up. So that means I can date 90% of the women. You can only date about 10% of the men. So I don't have to deal with you. You have to deal with me. And there becomes a problem. If I'm a man at the top echelon, why am I going to deal with the attitude? Why am I going to deal with a woman who says she won't fold my underwear, like you said? Okay, I'll find somebody who will fold my underwear. There ain't no problem.
And
there's going to be plenty of women who would be happy to fold my underwear.
I mean, it's interesting, and I hate to say that I can't argue with you, because I see it. I see it in the women who come into therapy and who are tired of being single, and these are high earning women. And again, they struggle with turning it off, and they got into these positions because they were raised by a single mother who was very strong and independent. So, one of the things I want to say, there's not always negatives that comes out of women who are raised by mothers. There's many other reasons why a father may not be in the home. It may be death, it may be incarceration. So women are very resilient who are raised by single moms. They're very strong, very independent. So there's not all, but there are a lot of, I'm not going to say benefits, but there are some good things that come out of women who are raised by single moms. So going back to what I was saying, I do see the issue of high earning women who are single, who want to be in a relationship, but there is a power struggle.
Yes.
And they don't know how to turn it off. And turning that off also means that you're willing to be vulnerable. And it also means that you have to feel safe with that man.
I'm going to ask you, because this is not a trick question. I had a consultation this week, and the guy, he talked about something. He said, a woman he was trying
Your
to
audio is messing up.
Yeah, it is. You're skipping and jump. It's some of your videos that you probably have open. Close some of your windows real quick. And real quick, while you're doing that, I'm going to read out this $5 super chat. It's just a comment to add on to what he was saying about Clinton. Clinton did not know his father. He died. His stepfather beat him and his brother. Okay. Unfortunately, back in the 70s, 50s, and all that, it was legal to beat your child. Spare the rod, spoil the child. I'm sorry. I grew up getting my ass whooped. Okay. Let's hear
Looks like you folded underwear a bit. Yes, I fold my underwear. What do you mean? I think that's so trifling. When I went over a woman's house and she just threw all them panties in there, and I was like, "What
my
the hell?"
house is cleaner than yours. I got a problem with you.
You know what's funny?
Problem with
my husband's underwear I fold. Mine I throw in the drawer.
No, I like mine folded too. I fold my underwear. Thank you.
I never even thought about that before. I take my time to fold his underwear. Mine are literally in a big pile in the drawer.
Mine are even color coordinated.
Jesus Christ. That's a little
it is.
I don't do
they
that.
Are because I would do too much information, but no, I won't even go there.
Yeah, because you're about to go down that rabbit hole, bro.
My consultation, the guy was saying, the woman was saying she was the prize, and he wanted me to help him out. So, respond to this woman. So I guess I would say to Michaela, do you feel that you are the prize? And when a guy asks, or have they ever asked, what you bring to the table?
I don't look at it like that. I don't look at it like the prize, because I'm winning too if I have a good man. If I have somebody that treats me the way that I want to be treated, is successful, is a man of God, is a strong man in how he walks and carries himself, is not insecure when it comes to having a woman who is successful, makes her own money, you know, takes care of herself kind of thing. I don't look at it like, oh, I'm the prize, I'm the prize. I look at it like we both win if we're equally yoked.
Would you date a bus driver
How
or a
does he
plumber?
win? How does he win?
Would you date a bus driver or a plumber?
Yeah, what does that have to do with it?
Because some women look at standing too. They think it's beneath them if they date somebody that has that title.
No, I think it's beneath me if you don't have a job. That's
That's
what's
at
beneath
least a
me.
little bit better than most. But go ahead.
Like, if you don't have a job and you can't take care of yourself and you're not striving to do better and be greater, like, no.
If he's a doctor, you don't want him to be an astrophysicist as well as a doctor, right? He can just be a doctor. He can stop
just
at
be
one thing.
Yeah, he can stop at one thing, but strive to be the greatest in your thing. That's all I'm saying. Like, why just complacency, like being okay and just
He's a
being
doctor. You
stagnant
know how long
doesn't.
it takes to get a doctorate?
I understand how long it takes to get, but just because you get your doctorate doesn't mean you stop.
So
It
then
doesn't
that's
mean that
longer
you
hours
stop
away
learning.
from you, and you're going to be okay with that as long as he's being aggressive.
You said what
And
now?
it's going to take longer hours to be the best at something. He's already a doctor. He spent his time getting his degree. He's making good money, but you want him to continue to strive to be better.
It's not
than that.
necessarily in that. It's not necessarily in that field. I'm just talking about bettering yourself as a person. Period.
But
Whether
you
it's
met him
in
as
your
a
field, if
doctor.
you
He
want to
needs
be,
to be
if you're
done.
going to be a doctor, yes, make sure that you are trying, or at least attempting to be the. Like, why would anybody want to be mediocre at anything? Like, oh,
I
I'm
don't think that
not too
the
bad,
fact
but I
that
ain't
you
too
have a
great either.
doctorate and you're
I
actually
mean,
working
that's
on
terrible.
patients means that you've already excelled. You've already achieved.
Yeah, but how many doctors do you know that have you seen or heard
So now
stories
it's
of that
a
were terrible
competition between
doctors?
doctors to be the top 100. He needs to be in that top 100 field. He can't just stop at being a good country doctor.
There's nothing wrong with being a good country doctor, but why do you stop trying to excel? Why do you get to a point and be like, okay, I'm gonna stay right here?
Ooh,
For
wow.
anything, for anybody, period. I don't care if you're a
You're
janitor.
looking past the achievement of actually getting his doctorate and being a doctor.
Yeah, good for you. But if you're okay,
Wow. Not the
no, because you're
butt.
trying to make it sound bad, and it's
No,
not
you trying
a
to make it
bad
sound
thing.
bad. We're not.
No, it's not. You're trying to make what I'm saying sound bad, and it's not a bad thing to continue to want to be great. That's
But in
not
order for him to be a doctor, he
you
already
don't wanna
had to be.
grow.
He already had to be and strive to be
Great.
the best.
Yes.
Absolutely. But how many doctors do you know that are terrible doctors?
Don't stop
How many
there.
doctors have
Keep
you heard
going.
of that are terrible doctors? All I'm
Terrible at
saying
what?
is,
Just being a doctor or their bedside manner
in
or
just their
what?
field. Yeah, like their bedside manner just all together, like a terrible doctor. Like, if you're gonna be a doctor, okay, like, let's try to be the greatest, not just if you're gonna be a bus driver, like, who
Well, then that's
cares
going to
what
take
field
him
you're
away
in?
from you. What
Why
happened
are
to
you
you in time?
stopping?
Hold up. This is where women get it so confused. You want him to strive to be greater. So striving to be greater means he's going to take time away from you, your marriage. The time he invested in even courting you now is gone because now you want him to be greater than himself after he's already been a doctor.
He ain't
So
gonna have
you
time
want
for
me
your
to strive to
kids.
be a wife, and then once I become a wife, that's it. I ain't gonna try to be a great wife.
We
I'm just a
don't
wife.
care. We want you to stay home and take care of the kids. We don't care. That's what you guys don't understand. We don't expect a lot. We expect
This is
peace when we
amazing.
come through the door, a good meal, and somebody to cuddle up and snuggle with. We don't want nothing else. We just want peace.
I
You
think y'all are
guys
gonna love
demand
Trump's
that. No,
America.
you guys demand that of yourselves because of how you were raised. We don't demand that of you. We will never have access to most of your money anyway. So why do we care how much
You
you
can't.
make?
You can't just be the president. You better be the best president.
You better do it.
President, you ain't do nothing. You
Once
just
you
go
get
Barack
done here
Obama. What that mean?
once you get done here in America, you better
You
strive to be the
better
president
make
of
the cut in
Mars.
the history books.
You better become an astronaut and go to Mars and be the president of Mars next, because that's the best way to look up for it.
I don't see what's wrong with wanting the best for somebody and wanting them to be great and grow.
Here's
Like,
the
what's
thing.
wrong?
You know
What's
what
wrong
being
with self?
because
When does
sometimes
the
you know what greatness means.
gets
Greatness
achieved? When does
means
greatness get achieved? When is it stop?
or greatness means I can't be at home with you.
My great grandfather told me, when you ready to stop growing and ready to stop learning, you ready to die.
It's not
So
about that.
I'm
It's
consistently
sometimes you
wanting to
keep
grow
going.
and wanting to learn because I'm not
It-
ready to die.
all right, here's what happened, and I wish I could sum up what Georgia was saying. This is what happened, Georgia. Back in the 40s or wherever, and it's happening in China right now, which is sad. The guys are in the countryside, they're leaving to the city. And what they're doing is they're sending all their money back home, all of it back home. So the woman feels I'm independent because she's receiving a check, just like those guys who were in the field or went somewhere else. He's sending all his money back and she feels I'm independent. But she's really not independent. She's just got money from where her husband is. He's just not in the home. And what happened in the 1960s was we said, okay, we can just take him out. And now the government has come in and started giving him a check. So he wasn't in the home initially because he was working. Now we can just remove him from the home and we'll give him a check to replace it. And that's what happened to society. We're just talking about having an absent father. So in order for you to be a best at something, that means you're not going to be at home. You got to strive. You got to work those hours. That means you would rather him be the best and not be at home with your children as a father.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You can't do two things at one time.
That's not what I'm saying.
It's not what you're saying, but that's what you would have to do.
No, I don't think so. I don't think
How
so.
can you be the best?
Why can't you
the
not?
best doctor and you be at home? You can't be the best doctor and the best father and the best.
Because
it's
you're
just not enough
you're
best.
going to be called away. You're going to have to do speaking.
You don't want to
engagements.
strive for greatness. You just want to strive for good
Hold
enough.
on. When you
Is
become
that what you're
great,
saying?
people want your attention. So once you become great, then you'll have to do speaking engagements. You'll be traveling around.
You don't have
What was
to
that?
do
Judge
speaking
Matthews.
You'll be
His wife
demonstrating certain
divorced.
techniques in the medical field that you specialize in. They're always going to want your attention. They're always
Y'all got
use you.
more excuses
No,
than anybody
I know
I've
you
ever
heard of
met
Judge
in my
Mathis,
life.
right? Judge Mathis' wife said, I'm tired of you being the best. I'm tired of you being on TV. I'm tired of you traveling. You got to stop. So it was either you got to be the fame or you got to be with me. He couldn't do both. And she says, hold up, when you met me, this is what I was. You liked me because I was doing this. And now it's, no, you can't do it. She wanted a divorce from me.
Mhm. That's her.
So
What
you
they got to do
find,
with me?
all right, he just not at home then?
The man not being home.
No, what I'm saying is why do you stop at just mediocre? Why do you, and whatever it is you're doing, even
He
if
became
you
a doctor. He already, look, that's just like saying this. I got to the NBA. Maybe I'm not going to be Michael Jordan, but damn,
y'all ain't
I
interested in
was
hearing
one of
my
the
answer.
three.
You're
I was
only
one of the
interested in responding.
0.003%.
No,
And you still
we
like,
hear
you
you.
sit in the
No,
bench
y'all
though.
are just interested in responding. So
ahead.
I'll respond.
Go ahead, Michaela. We're gonna be
No,
quiet.
it's good. It's good. There's no point in me trying to explain my answer because y'all just gonna cut me off and be like, he's a doctor. That's the greatest you could be. Okay, that's fine. That's your opinion. But if I'm saying, why are you just you reach a goal and then you stop and you have no other goals? Like, I'm just gonna keep it right here. I'm just gonna stay level right here. And we're not gonna try to grow or become better or become a greater person or become a greater whatever it might be. Why are you pointing at me?
I don't know who you.
No, I'm pointing at Georgia. She needs to speak up.
So
over here
Michaela,
like dumbfounded.
no,
You're
so
over there dumbfounded right now. Go
I
ahead.
am.
I'm
So
It's the
Michaela,
sisterhood.
I'm
It's the
struggling.
sisterhood. It's the
Well,
sisterhood.
no, it's not the same. Well, so Michaela, I'm struggling with what you said.
Okay.
Because there's two parts of this. I have dated some successful men and chose not to because there was no time for me. Okay, that's first and foremost. But then the other part of that is when you have a man who has achieved being a doctor and he's good with where he is, why can't he not then pour his energy into other areas of his life, developing his hobbies, the things that why does he have to be the top doctor in his field?
If that is what if that is what he chooses to do, that is what he chooses to do. You want to be a doctor, that's great. You want to go over here and be great in something else, that's great. But why are we? You're helping me to understand what they're saying now, because it's not about just in that field. It's just growing, period. It's not saying, okay, I've reached being a doctor. Now I'm just going, this is what I do. That's it. This is where I'm at. Why can you not grow and be greater just in anything that you're doing in life?
Okay, but
why
see,
can
that's what you said. That's not what I heard, and I don't think that's what they heard. So I'm good at being a therapist. I have my private practice. I'm good at now. If I wanted to, I could go out and write some books and this, that, and the other. I don't choose to do that. I choose to be a therapist and control my own schedule. And I choose to throw my other time into being gardening and painting and cooking and, and smoking meats. That's where I choose to put my time. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a man who's achieved being a doctor and then he pours the rest of his time into developing his hobbies. So I think what they were hearing is that you were saying they were a doctor, so now you need to be the top surgeon in the world.
No, I'm not saying you need to be. That's what he was just saying. He said, "Oh, so you need to be a doctor and an astrophysicist." No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that why are you just? I guess what I'm understanding from you guys is I became a doctor. That's all I need to do.
It is. If that's all you want to do.
But that is what we saying.
This is. I'm gonna tell you what we heard. Let me tell you what we heard. Let me see if I can share this really quickly.
Oh my Lord Jesus.
This is what every man heard because this is what we heard from somewhere else. So give me a second. Let me rewind this.
I'm not saying a doctor is not an elite profession. First of all, let me clear that up. I'm not saying being a doctor is good enough. I'm not saying being a president.
Do that at least. Do that at least. Clear that up, please.
Let me clear that up because I'm saying this. And y'all act like I'm over here.
Well, why do you look at the comments?
Yeah, she read the comments. I told her not to.
Don't make yourself up like that.
I don't.
This
I
is
read
what
everybody's comments, but Bacchus because he's disrespectful, so I don't pay attention to those. But
he already got that
comments,
reputation with
I'm
you
not
too.
saying being a doctor is not an elite profession. I'm not saying being a therapist, being a teacher. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. He just asked me if I would date a bus driver. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is what we heard.
What's wrong with being a bus driver?
Because this is what we heard when you said that.
When some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it, if he owns the bus,
that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society.
That's what we heard.
Okay, let me clear this up for you guys. Because I don't care if he owns the bus. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he.
You don't care, but he got to be the best doctor there is. What are you talking about?
The best doctor that he can be. Listen, as a person, if I am going to go and be a teacher, right, and I'm teaching kindergarten, I'm going to be the best kindergarten teacher I could possibly be. I'm not saying I'm going to go and own the school and hire all the teachers and do all of these things. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, why are you not the best that you could possibly be in your profession? For you, as a person. Why? I'm sorry?
Maybe that's the level he's happy with.
And that's what a lot of women do. They want to build, we call it build a bear. You meet a man and it's like, oh yeah, he's that, but I can make him into this.
I'm not trying to make anybody into anything. I'm just, no.
Here's a good point that Darnell, thank you for the $20 super chat. I had a doctor who worked on Wall Street before quitting his position at a firm to work at the VA. I asked him why. He said the VA pays a lot less, and he replied, because I like helping veterans more than making money. Some people don't have the same value on money that society puts on it. And so the perception of that man is, I've gotten my doctorate. I've done what I wanted to do in my life, and now I want to do some philanthropy work. I want to just help other people. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong. No. Oh, you're muted, Michaela.
Yeah, Michaela, you are. I don't know why.
Yourself.
You muted yourself. You push some buttons over there. Stop reading the chat. You did it again. One time. Just click one time. One time. Oh, you talking to somebody.
My sister was picking up my nieces, so I was trying to mute the noise in the background.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it. Like, if that's the best doctor that if he wants to be that, and that's the best doctor he can be, then be that best doctor you can be. It includes bedside manner. It includes not just being a doctor and growing and being this higher level of, now I'm the director of whatever at the hospital. I'm not saying that. I'm saying be the best that you can possibly be in your profession for you. If this is the top of what you can do, then do that for you. Does that make sense?
But are you going to be
the
happy
best doctor that I can be for me.
But are you going to be happy for
I'm
him?
giving my best, is what I'm saying.
Are
I'm
you going to
giving
be
my
happy
best.
for him if that's what he feels like that's his best and that's where he wants to be? Are you
That's
going
what
to
he
be
feels
happy
like.
for your significant other?
I'm not trying to build a man. I'm not trying to build a bear, whatever it was he was talking about. No, I'm not raising somebody else's son. No.
Okay, it just seemed like you weren't satisfied. If he wanted to stop it just being a good doctor.
I'm not saying that. How am I going to not be satisfied by somebody who's not an astrophysicist, but I'm willing to date a bus driver? That don't make sense.
Okay.
Because if he ain't discovered that planet way in the back, it's like he just not good. He's like, brother, you ain't discovered that one planet that we knew about.
It's got to be my communication. I got to be saying it wrong because y'all are not getting my point.
I'm gonna play a few more videos, then we're gonna bring some people up. So let me grab these videos.
I definitely want Happy to come.
We go with daddy issues first.
Happy.
Let's see.
Daddy issues.
Don't be squinting.
I hope you can hear this.
In men,
right? No, it's very low.
Men have daddy issues, and when you think about daddy issues, let's be honest.
It's still low.
Let's be thorough.
Yeah.
One that could be
All right, I think he's gonna be low. I might not be able to do them. Sorry about that. I want to talk about this one then.
Like there are some men that just literally hate the masculinity their man showed them. They expect men to act like women. And what I mean by that is I'll have clients where, he might have been born and raised in like the middle of Albania, and he will want his dad to, he's like, oh, my dad didn't buy me presents on my birthday and never came to my school assemblies. And I was just like, this guy probably went through a couple of wars and probably got beaten on a regular basis. You think he's going to be proud of you because you now know your alphabet? He didn't give a shit about that. And so having this kind of very Western version of love and parenting has led to a lot of men disconnecting from their fathers prematurely and unfairly. I think.
Do you think that there's a disconnect between the older generation and the new generation? I mean, the older generation was like, man, I worked. I went out, I slaved, I did all of this, and you talking about ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and the paint you putting on there, but that's what she's saying. So do you think that there's a disconnect how the older generation showed their love and the younger generation is saying, oh, I needed you to be around and I need you to tell me this, where they said, wait, did you eat every day? Did you do this every day? Did you have clothes? Do you think that they feel that there's an abandonment in the newer generation?
Well, and that's what I was saying. I think this issue has always existed, but I think we started to call it different. Before it was, daddy had to work out in the fields, he had to take care of the family. But now, but back then we didn't have an option. Men didn't have an option to stay at home or not go out there and bust their behinds. Back when my mom was being raised, her father was always out in the fields. Her father was always working. So he was not necessarily emotionally available. Again, he was physically there. But now, this generation, there's more options. There's more ways to earn money. You don't have to work in the field. Not yet. Not till Trump. We might be out there next week with Trump. Anyway, so I think there's many different reasons why young boys and men are feeling that their fathers weren't present, because back then there wasn't an option. And I feel like this new generation feels like their fathers are choosing not to be available. Not necessarily the truth, but it just looks differently. And so, but the impact is the same. The impact is the same whether your father worked in the field or if your father was, at home and emotionally not there. The outcome is still the same. There's going to be women out there who struggle with different aspects of their lives because of that absence.
And I'm listening to you. I'm trying to play.
I'm going to pull this out real quick because he brings up a good point, and then I'm going to tell you a story about myself. To back up Darnell's point, I know some high-level professionals who gave up their jobs to teach English in Asia. They didn't like corporate America. Thank you for the $5 super chat, D Ward. It's very true. I went through PTSD and I was running an insurance agency. I had well over 4,000 clients, 300 agents, and each one of them had their own individual issues that obviously as a boss I had to take care of in order to make them the highest productive agent they could be. It became too much for me. I gave all that up. I literally gave up hundreds of thousands of dollars a year because I just couldn't do it anymore without losing my own sanity. And I felt like I was more important than the money that I was making, because the money I was making would have killed me had I kept going. So there comes a time in a man's life where he can excel and be the best, but it's going to wind up putting him in the hole, and literally the hole in the ground, killing him. Okay. So, you know, a lot of women don't understand that men suffer from stress too, and PTSD, and they don't have a lot of shoulders that they can actually talk to. And Georgia, knowing that from when she does therapy, you know, when do men get to kind of downshift a little bit? You know, the only way they can is if they're successful, because other than that, they're driven to have to be that protector, that provider. Thank God I'm in a position where I could downshift a little bit. I know how to turn on the faucet when I need to make more money, and I know how to turn it off. So I don't have to put as much stress on me, but I gave up a lot of clients to do it. I gave up a lot of agents I was pulling checks from, because every time they sold, guess what? I got a check too. So I got money from my clients, and I got money from my agents.
You know,
and I was getting a check.
I'm sorry. It's interesting that you say that, because with the new influx of male clients who are coming into therapy, a lot of them are saying just what you said, Ronan. You know, they're busting their butts. They're, you know, at work, you know, bringing work home, and they're coming home and they feel alone. They're coming home and they don't have a wife that they can, you know, dump on and talk about the busy day and the struggles that they encounter during the workday. And they said they're literally at home with their wife and children, and they feel completely alone. And, you know, they're afraid of letting their wife know that they're tired. They want to give up. You know, I've got men who are coming in. Can I say the S word?
Delete themselves.
Yeah, delete. Yeah, self-delete.
The number of men coming into sessions now, they're literally, that's where they are in life, and they have a partner at home, but they're not communicating, and they don't feel like that's a space where they can talk about, you know, how tired they are. But
don't read the comments. Just
look down there.
I don't know why he keep putting them up. Interrupt y'all. Go ahead.
So anyway, so yes, I'm hearing this more and more coming into therapy. Men feeling like they are alone, and they don't have, you know, the space to talk about what's going on, and they're tired. You know, they're working 12-hour days, and there's no relief in sight.
And they feel that the only way to relieve themselves is to delete themselves,
because they don't want to be a burden.
Yeah.
Correct. And they don't want to feel like a failure. You know, they're afraid to feel. You know, I've got one guy, and I literally had to take him out of work. And I said, "You can't do this anymore." He's like, "Well, you know, what am I supposed to do?" I said, "You need to rest." And I said, "And you need to take care of your mental health." A lot of men don't understand that FMLA is out there for a reason. Take a leave. If you are no longer here tomorrow, breathing on this earth, trust and believe your job will be filled by next week.
Facts.
But here's I know you say that, and I don't want to say women, but there's a lot of women who just say, put your big boy pants on and go out there. I'm going to tell you why, because I seen your look when Michaela said, I ain't got no time to cry. Your look on your face, I seen the therapist. I seen your look. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm going to stay out of it, but I because when you say if she ain't got time to cry, she ain't got time to show emotions. That's what we say to men. You can't. What you mean? You ain't got time to show no emotions, man. You just got to make this work. Mm-hmm. And we blame men. We say we suffer in silence.
There's a lot of men who suffer in silence.
But if a woman is saying she ain't got time to cry, and you say, "Man, I can't take it," she gonna look at you double weak.
I don't think that look was because of that statement.
Oh, I've seen it. I can do the playback, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I recall what you're saying, but I don't know that it was in like disapproval of what she said.
All right. So how you feel about that?
About what?
She
Women
ain't got time to
crying?
cry. She's like, I ain't got time to cry.
No, I know. I hear that. You know, this is another thing that I hear a lot with single mothers who come in. You know, I don't have time to fall apart. You know, I've got some women who've scheduled therapy literally so they don't like. They will say they don't want to talk, and they will just sit and cry. Because they said that's the only time they can find in the day that they can be by themselves uninterrupted. And that's sad. So there's a lot of women out there that feel like, you know what, if I start to crack, this is all coming undone. This shit all falling apart. So I hear it a lot. So no, I wasn't disagreeing. I wasn't disagreeing. I hear this. A lot of women who are they're tired, but they feel like the minute they stop, everything's going to come undone. And unfortunately, most of it is true. It is going to come undone because there's nobody to pick up the pieces.
And that's why I said it was sad. I understood exactly what she said when she said it.
I'm gonna put up the chat for somebody, and then I'm gonna put in this because we talked about some daddy issues, and I'm just gonna share this real quick. Is it 3 Daddy? Let's see. Hopefully we can hear this, and I just want to talk a little bit about this, and then we'll bring some people up. Oh man, why am I not here? Oh.
The way, you tell me what you think about this one. When it comes to men, how daddy issues manifest in men. Another way they tend to manifest in men is they tend to resent women sometimes, right? And so you have those men out there too.
Hold on, I want to get to.
I know I need you, mommy. I know that you protect me, provide,
Mommy
but I'm kind of
issues.
mad at you, and so I don't never want to date anybody like you. Like, you remind me of my mama, and I don't want nobody like that. You know what I'm saying? Or like, there's got to be a reason why daddy left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Daddy taught me not to trust these hoes out here. You know, like it's these messages. And my friend Jessica in Vision Counseling is on here, and
she's talking about mommy issues, and I've heard men say that a lot. I can't trust these hoes because I know how my mama was. I know that. And so these are some of the mama issues that we talk about. There's women that have daddy issues, but there's guys that have mother issues.
She taught me to really kind of pay attention in my practice. She's another licensed therapist, and she talks about scripts. It is so important for us to go back and look at what our family of origin, the village that raised us, tells us about these things. Like, what are the messages that we're carrying from watching certain things? So if and that's the other piece about the men who have daddy issues, and if their father left them, again, they don't have to be physically gone to leave you, right? You can be emotionally distant. Then the resent for women could come from you just not even watching a healthy interaction between your parents.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. Here's a comment that Cassandra said. Miss Ask Cassandra. She said they love Kitty, but they hate women. And that happens because a lot of these men will become overtly sexual, right? So it's a lot of expressed in a sexual way, but yet they don't love the woman. They don't love the woman. So that sexual promiscuity can happen a lot of times, even when you have those daddy issues. So that's another way that it manifests in men. I think one other one I was looking at, another one was sometimes these men, they tend to rely heavily on peer groups. So it's kind of like this this bros before hoes mentality. Talk a little bit about how that manifests when you have daddy issues as a man.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely an illustration of running towards belongingness, right? So you know how like birds of a feather, basically. You know, you got other men who have the same type of energy from their friends, and they ain't getting what they need at home because daddy was gone or whatever it may be. And we talk about this in my Boys in the Hood training with Tina, just how trauma just manifests and how it presents itself with these young men who are, for example, like in gangs. So, you know, on the surface, it looks like, oh, you're just a troublemaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just out here looking for trouble. But really, I'm running towards something. I'm running towards belongingness. So what we see as bros before hoes is really just, I need my brother to validate me. I need somebody who's going through my same experience to be in community with me, because maybe that is where on the surface it looks really it sounds really bad, but if I'm looking deeper, it's a community.
Yeah,
and it's
that's
support.
what it is. That's all it is, right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really all it is. That's what we're looking for.
So check this out though. So this is the final thing we'll talk about when it comes to men and daddy issues. So we're gonna get to the women. Okay. So I want to get to that. But here's the other piece of this story, right? A lot of times it shows up as insecurities and a constant need for validation from men too. So men won't admit it, but I talk to women all the time who have men in their lives that are in that constant need for validation, right? So it's because they might not feel they're good enough for the women they're with.
Maybe
and sometimes that manifests itself. So talk.
Play one more. Maybe. Give me a second. And one more abandonment issue, and we'll bring anybody.
Is that why I'm usually by myself? Yeah, I think that the main thing I have to give you is a house to live in and a warm bed. But I don't understand how to show you love, appreciation, and affection. Yeah, you're actually kind of critical. Am I? You don't really interact with me unless you're telling me to stop doing something or when I'm doing something bad. I don't think I have any memory of you just coming up to me and sitting beside me and asking how I'm doing or what I'm feeling. Or you just taking interest in a game I'm playing or something that I'm into. Yeah, I don't really play games. Okay, here's what I'm learning. I'm invisible. My thoughts and feelings don't matter much. If something goes wrong in my life, or if I ever need your support, I know that I won't get it. So I'll keep everything bottled in, like you do. This will lead to anxiety or depression because loneliness and isolation have severe impacts on our overall health. I'll want to connect with other people. I just won't have any idea how because you don't connect with me or yourself.
And I've seen that where there's been guys that I know and people that the only type of interaction they have with their parent is, you're not good enough. You're not doing this. It's never an encouragement. It's always a criticism. The entire everything that they do. So I think that's how they raise a lot of sons that don't have self-esteem, because they never felt that they were good enough to do anything. And I think moms even do that with their daughters, where it's always criticized. It's a criticism. And they
that just
never
made me
live
think
up
of the Django where he's like, criticize.
Let's see.
No, but I agree with that a lot, actually.
Happy Velocity, if you're still in the room, please come up.
No, I think he's past his bedtime.
Yeah, I know.
He texts me.
Yeah.
We'll bring up, you want to bring up one at a time?
We can for a minute.
Let's bring up Drew first, because Bacchus.
Yeah, because Bacchus is going to be a conflict.
Oh.
Drew G, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, brothers. Salute to the panel. How are y'all?
Hey. Good. How are you?
Yeah. Hey, George, I've got a question for you, and it was based upon something that you brought up like 30 minutes ago, and Ronan kind of tagged in on it too. Well, I know you were saying that you're a therapist and that you meet with a lot of single women who are well-to-do, and they're looking for, relationships. And right now, as we already know in our country, that our federal government is going to downsize. And in the Washington DMV area, we know that a lot of those jobs are held by a lot of Black women, women of color, well-paying jobs, six-figure positions. And they're going to be out of jobs, probably soon. I hate it for a lot of people because a lot are going to lose their jobs. How would you talk to somebody who is in that position? They've been a six-figure single mom, breadwinner. Like you said, they looking for a man. Now they're going to have to lower their standards because, well, not their standards, but they're going to really have to lower themselves because a lot of the men are going to say, well, you don't have a job. You're saddled with all this student loan debt. And, there's a lot of, I think, trauma that's about to happen around our country.
About to.
Yeah.
She's drinking tonight because it already happened. So
correct. So, I mean, Drew, you have hit it. And this is something this January has been the busiest month of my entire career for this reason. I've got a lot of people who are coming in from these high paying jobs, not just the government, but this whole DEI thing is affecting a whole lot of people who are in some pretty high paying positions.
Yes.
And there's a lot of single women. And so the conversations really haven't been about relationships at all. It's how the hell am I going to navigate these next few months with having to downsize, and they're having to pull their children out of private schools. There's a lot of shifting that is happening, and so unfortunately there isn't any focus on relationships at all. It's how do I maneuver this new chapter in my life and with significantly less income. Now, luckily, these women who are in these positions have invested. They've got properties and things of that nature that are going to hold them afloat for a while. But then, that's only going to last for so long. So the conversations really are, having conversations with the children about the changes that are about to happen. These kids are in sports. These kids are, like I said, at pretty affluent schools. And they're having to move, and you're talking about these very large homes down to townhomes and even apartments. And these are big shifts so that they can have the money in the long run. And these are moves that are happening immediately. So there isn't any conversations about relationships. It's really about what is this going to look like and how do I do it?
Yeah.
Do you think that these women put too much emphasis on salary instead of quality of life?
Of course it is.
Well, I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
No, because that's like saying you can go to either a 5-star restaurant, you can walk in the park.
Not really.
I think what happens is a lot of people figure that the 5-star restaurant experience is much better, is much.
But I think you're putting that. I think you're putting all women in a situation that they earn a lot of money, that they're out there just splurging, and that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah,
a lot of these women. Go ahead.
I was about to say, I mean, you can have somebody who's making $70,000 and their quality of life is good, so they're not making, in some cases, as much as you, Fearless, but they feel that they have a quality life. It's going hand in hand.
Correct. There's a lot of women out here who are in these positions who are very financially savvy. So they're not out there just spending ridiculously or not, just senselessly. They've actually invested and are going to be okay. But it's just really again, being proactive and not waiting till the retirement runs out or the savings runs out. They're really trying to make some changes now so that they will be okay.
But Georgia,
no, but it still goes back to what I'm saying. It goes back to quality of life. It's like I had to do my private school. I had my place in Martha Vineyard. Are we as a society putting too much emphasis on what we make instead of what we do?
But I don't. Why would you? So this goes back to something my mother did. My mother, she worked at General Motors. She was, in management. She worked really hard to get in those positions so that she could make sure we went to good schools. So why would you not make sure that your kid has the best education if you have the money to do it?
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Yeah,
it's like a heart. It's like the heart and the brain. You got to have both of them at the same time.
Let me say this real quick. Well, we're talking about the women that are successful and have a mind and have a mindset for investment. There's a whole nother class of women and men that don't have that level of expertise, have not prepared because they go paycheck to paycheck and are going to be running into the same thing here in the next couple of months.
Yeah, you're right.
You talked about the ones that are prepared. What about the ones that did not prepare because they didn't have the foresight, and now they're out that 6-figure job and they never put a dime up?
It ain't even really foresight if you think about it, Ronan. I would say the most secure job you could have had was the federal government.
Yeah,
there was laws and things in place
Go
that,
get a job with the post office.
yeah, that
Or
was that is the job that was pretty much recession proof, layoff proof. Administration has changed and they down. But you're talking about the biggest downsizing in history if it goes the way that the current administration wants it to go. And we've never seen anything like this.
But that goes back to this, and so I don't want Michaela to think that I was disagreeing with her, because when I do have consultations with guys, I often tell them, you have to level up, you have to be the best you can be. You cannot get into a position and start to feel comfortable. Like even with my position, they offer. They'll pay for your certifications for free. They'll give you sites that you can go to so you can get certified. They'll send you to classes. They'll pay for additional education. And very few of us take advantage of that. And I say, the time you need to be doing it is when everything is all right. Because when things go bad, you're not going to have time to do that catch up and put that on your resume. And I say, take that extra time to level up, to get more experience, to reach out and do things that you haven't done, and get out of your comfort zone, so that when something approaches, you can say, I've done that, or I have experience. I tell guys to do it all the time. I think what happens, Drew, is a lot of people get in those federal positions and they get complacent. And complacency is what kills us, where we don't have a skill that we can do outside of that, because we've always done that.
Check this out, Fearless. There are people right now that thought going into DEI was a level up.
Yes.
They didn't see this coming. So, I mean, we don't know. None of us know what's going to happen in the future. We can make all these wild predictions and things like that. Only thing is certain is death and taxes. That's what they say. Unless President Trump gets rid of the IRS, but we don't know what's going to happen. But I'm going to step down. I know there's probably some more brothers that want to get up and chop it up with you guys. But thanks.
Nah, it's just Bacchus, man. He ain't talking about that.
Oh,
you about to start a
I gotta let Drew go, because Drew be beating up ex-boyfriends, man.
Yeah.
Drew got beef with people. We talked about that last week, man.
Yes, sir.
You come over to his house for his mama to cook you something. He might take you in his bedroom and whoop your ass. So.
All right, brothers.
All right, bro.
All right, Drew. Hey, real quick,
go ahead.
Let me read this super chat. Darnell Elliott, $10 super chat. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you very much. I think the quality of life is measured on how you manage your money versus what you make. Listen to Ramsey's show. High earning couples call in all the time broke, like someone living on Section 8. Yeah, it's all about money management, and that's the thing. There's a lot of people that were earning six figures and thinking it would never go away. The good times will always roll. They never planned and put their little seeds up and waited for the winter to come. They didn't think winter was coming. Well, winter's here. Now what are you going to do?
I had to learn that when I was offshore. It was feast and famine. You work for 6 months. You don't work for 6 months.
Well, when you work 1099 and you on commission, you learn how to put your money up right. But best believe, because they ain't no guaranteed checks when I in the business I'm in.
So real quick on what everybody was just talking about, that whole thing in the DMV. I live in the DMV area, and I could see that happening. I've worked for the government off and on contracts. So I've seen a lot of different sides. A lot of people in that area basically beat their chest about, I've been here 40 something years, 30 something years. That's their medal on their chest, right? But now all that's coming to an end. It's not going to matter. It's going to be real difficult. And if anybody knows anything about the DMV area, ain't nothing cheap around here. You can't buy nothing for nothing. You can't even park on the street for less than $15 for the first hour. So just to give you an idea, it's most definitely going to be bonkers. But that's off topic. We're talking about Fatherless America, daddy issues. Shout out.
First of all, do you have daddy issues? Was your dad in the home?
Oh yeah. My dad was home. I had my dad up until I was laying on his chest when he died. So
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah,
it's all good. But pancreatic cancer, so I get blood tests every 6 months to make sure I'm Gucci. But I've had my father. My father married my mother. Of course, they go through their stuff, back and forth, whatnot. But There's never been a time where I did not have access to my dad at any point in my life. I needed a phone call, or I needed to hear something or some kind of advice. He'll call me back or whatever. So I don't have that issue. Just wanted to say shout out to Miss Georgia. I want to say mad respect on a lot of things you said. I didn't expect I'll ever hear that from you. You started sounding like Tommy Sotomayor for real, and I mean that as a compliment. I'm not trying to be what other people might think I'm a bad guy.
So you finally sided with them during the argument.
I'm waiting on you. Just tonight. I ain't trying to give her a blank pass just yet.
Oh, I know.
Until something else comes up. But I was ready for goalposts to be moving today. All good. But no, I really appreciate you saying that, because you actually see it from a man's point of view and in your real day to day. So maybe not everything I'm saying is BS. I think one of the points that was made is that one of the ladies was talking about the guys wanting to be, treated like princesses or something like that. And I think that's something that called son husbands. I think you guys did a show on that a while back or talked about it before. Mm-hmm. And that's if a man is being treated like he is the son of the woman and she's treating him like a king. So anybody he dates is like, why would I mess with you when I get all this from my mama? You can't do what my mama do for me, then you ain't no good. And that's a sad sight to see for that, most definitely. Another thing I put in the chat, has anybody ever heard of the gentleman named Johnny Kim?
Is he like the plastic surgeon?
No, Johnny Kim, I think, is the perfect person for Michaela, because I think this dude right here.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm serious, because look, homeboy.
I hear a side-handed shot coming right now.
No, it's not a shot. It's not a shot. No, I'm serious. From what she was speaking of, this might sound like him.
He's
So
a
I'm
surgeon and an astronaut.
So this dude at 18, he was in the U.S. Navy. At 32, he was a doctor, and at 35, he was an astronaut. I mean, that sounds just like the kind of dude she's talking about. I mean, like you say, got to go to Mars and be the president of Mars too. He on the way. Is that the kind of dude? I'm being serious. I'm not trying to. Y'all always think I'm trying to be funny, but that's what she was saying. The dude's just got to be the best of the best of the best. You got to, and I get that. But there's also a work-life balance, and we kind of touched on that. If he's out there doing all that, he's not attending to you and your needs. He's not attending to the family. He's not attending to the kids. He's out there slaying dragons all day. So if you're going to have to give up, there's a give and take. For Miss Georgia,
you clearly were so busy typing in the chat that you weren't listening, but it's okay. I'll let you finish your point. Go ahead. All your little side shots you was taking in the chat, you wasn't listening. It's all right.
See, she was reading. Told you not to read, though.
Oh, I didn't want to cut her off. I just want to make sure,
Oh, she done. Yeah. She very sensitive about that part.
Miss Georgia, I got an honest question. Do you think it is possible, because I think you'll be the best person to answer, to be a top-notch doctor in any field, and also a top-notch wife and a top-notch mother all at the same time? Or is it some give and take in the family dynamic?
Absolutely. It's not possible.
Okay, I'm glad you could say that, because if that's what you expect from your partner, then I would assume you would be giving as much also, because I'm sure, doesn't want to just be a high school dropout or whatever, and that's it, and you expect him to be all this. But that's just what I'm saying. But no, check out Johnny Kim, slide his DMs. Maybe he's free. He might be able to, holler at you. I wasn't trying to be rude in the chat, okay, regardless of what you're saying.
So you a matchmaker now, Marcus? You're a matchmaker.
Say that again.
Are you a matchmaker now?
No,
I would rather kick a
that
brick
dude.
wall barefoot than match with anybody that Marcus
dude. I was like, God damn.
Are you not the love connection?
I would absolutely kick a brick wall barefoot over matching anybody with anybody that Bacchus recommends. And I ain't even met the man. I just heard his voice. And that was enough for me to be like, I'm good. Thank you.
He just sounded like a type. And the whole thing about the whole fathers not being in the house, Miss Georgia did make a fair point about people being vindictive of, if you don't want to be with me, you're not going to see your child at all. And that hurts everybody. That hurts the dad. That hurts the child. That hurts the mother. Nobody wins in that situation. Absolutely, there's some a-hole dudes out here. Nobody's denying that. Every man on the planet could tell you that. But when somebody does something like that and they do all they can to make it even harder, it makes no sense. I think we spoke about this the other day. The lady who told her daughters that her dad SA'd them when it never happened, and she still would never admit it. You know, stuff like that is real. But my question is, how would you feel if your daughter's coming home with the man of her dreams and be like, oh yeah, I'll be baby mama number 4? Is that okay? Does anybody approve of that? How would you go about that?
You're on what number 4?
If your daughter came home with the
with
man of
you.
her dreams,
Mhm.
and she was saying, oh, he already got 4 baby mamas and babies he don't take care of, I'm gonna be number 5 or whatever. How would you feel about that? Would you be like, oh, go
Absolutely
ahead,
not.
girl? Absolutely not, Miss Georgia.
Absolutely not.
Ronan, would you be cool with that? I don't already know the answer, but
Oh, he
I don't
ain't even
think
coming to
anybody
my
on the
house.
panel was okay with that.
He ain't coming to
Really?
my house. Matter of fact, if my
I
sons
don't think
don't get rid
anybody
of
on the
him,
panel was okay with that.
if my sons don't get rid of him first, I'm gonna have a problem with them.
how do you make it to the big dog and it got through you, bro? Yeah, I got that.
Exactly. How did he even get in the house before y'all?
I mean, but this is the other thing y'all was talking about. Yeah, you were saying if she's with the dude who already has babies and he's not taking care of them, what makes women think that, oh, I'm better than all them other chicks, he gonna take care of mine? And even if y'all do get married and y'all do go on, you do understand that your money's going to end up going to those other women as well, because I think that's how the family court thing
I don't
works.
think I don't know if you weren't following that conversation correctly. We were just talking about how it could possibly be. Maybe he's whispering sweet nothings in her ear and making her believe, and she got daddy issues, and she's waiting for somebody to fall in love with, and he's saying all the right things. I don't know. I ain't baby mama number nothing. Like I got
It's a
all my
hypothetical.
kids by the same man.
It
So
was a
I don't.
hypothetical. That's why I said it like that.
Yeah, I
How was
think I
that?
thought we was already settled on that wasn't the smart, that
No,
she probably wasn't the brightest crayon in the box. I don't know, but
I've actually been on the outskirt of that. I had a really good friend of mine. Her daughter
you
fell
got
in
4
love with
baby
a dude.
mamas? Oh,
Say that again. No, I have no children.
okay.
I'll never tell them my real name. So, had a friend who her daughter was like 16. This dude was doing exactly that, whispering sweet nothing in her ears, and she was telling her, "Don't do it." He wanted a legacy, and he da. And she was a teen mom, and it still happened. So she was 30-something grandma. Like, yo, it is what it is. So I completely get it. They got the gift of gab, and they feel they're in love. You can't tell a young person anything when they hit that point. It's very difficult, no matter how well you raise them up. It's kind of what I wanted to put out there. And yeah, blackdemographics.com will help you for all that stuff. But Ronan already pulled that up. So thanks again, Miss Georgia. You cool with me? And Tom Likens is my daddy
for this week.
I know.
Happy Valentine.
My question, happy Valentine. Daddy issues. No, my question, because I know we're not going to go 4 hours, but I always want to end with some solutions. So how do we solve for the daddy issues? How, if you are a woman who has daddy issues,
or
a
man,
do you solve for it? Yeah, or a man. How do we prevent the father from being that issue or the mother from being that issue?
Do they still do that thing at the rec center where you like mentor kids with the Boys and Girls Club, stuff like that? Is that a possibility? Is that something?
There's not a lot of YMCAs and boys centers anymore like that anymore. Programs like that have been shut down for years.
I think it's going to take a lot of work. It's not something that's going to happen in a year or 2 years, and it's going to take 2 people who meet each other and are both doing the work on themselves before they meet each other, before that whole thing is going to break. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than just one generation or one mom having her kid and just having daddy issues on her own. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of people willing to do the work for that to stop.
If this is what we've seen from most, not all, Miss Georgia, not all, from most of the young boys that are being raised by women alone, let's see what happens if we give the boys to the men to raise them.
Yeah, why not do that?
I mean,
whoa, wait a minute. Whoa. Party foul. I got to throw the flag up. You know, women ain't going for that. There's too many systems in place for them to take advantage of.
You know what? It's impressive.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I'm going to go there. No, hell no, I'm going there. You know, there are way too many systems out there in place that women fight to have those kids in the house because it allows them to do other ratchet ass shit than to actually care about their kids.
No, and not that. Hold up. I won't say that. Hold up. Yeah, I won't say that because Georgia, if you remember, when Tasha,
That's what I was just about to bring Tamasha up.
Tamasha. But here's the thing with Tamasha. She pulled, even when she wasn't even in the best position, and she knew that the father was probably a better position than her. She resisted with all her might until she had no other options.
Correct.
And that's sad that we do that it has to be no other option. So why is it, Michaela, when a mother not just say, hey, you are the father, you're in a better position, here, take the kids? Mothers won't do that. And I think Georgia was saying it because I know a lot of guys who love their children, but they can't deal with the woman. And sometimes the woman feels I can't physically beat this man up, so I will emotionally damage him by keeping his children away from them or using them as a pawn. I know guys, and I could be wrong. I don't know a lot of guys that use their children as pawns to say, hey, you can't see your mother. But I know a lot of mothers who say, no, you can't see your father.
Yeah, I don't doubt that those women exist, and those women are terrible people, if you ask me, because you're not causing damage to the man more than you are the child. I will say that there are men. I do know men who have taken their children. My aunts, for instance, my grandmother was married to a man that was from France, divorced him, and because she divorced him because he was not a good man, kids went to go visit him because she wasn't going to keep him from him. He took them, went back to France, and put them both in girls' schools. He didn't even want them to live with them. He just wanted to hurt her. So there are men out there that do that.
Like a
but
boarding
I don't
school?
think it's right either way.
You mean like a boarding school?
Yes, like a boarding school.
Oh, okay,
Girls'
okay.
schools. Mhm.
All right.
And even then, they weren't allowed to see each other except for on Sundays because the school did not want them speaking English to each other. They wanted them to learn the language, which I
There
think
is
was in
always
Spain
that
or something
one
like that.
story that comes up. Oh my God, there's always got to be that one story that is
one guy messed it
highly
up for
out of the
everybody.
ordinary. That
That
is
was
not
it was
standard.
just an example to show that it happens on both sides. I just
Not
said I don't
at
agree
a-
with the women
not
that
at
do
a
it.
higher
So
clip. Not at a higher clip.
I got
Let's not go there.
I got a quick question from Michaela. Can you while I was typing all my stuff, I might have missed something. So if you don't mind clearing something up, I believe you were saying
I
that
might have missed something.
you are raising your daughter to be, which is great. To do all the things she want to do, go as far as she can go in her studies and in her career, and whatnot. Correct? You said you were doing that for your daughter, right? You wanted to make her be the best of the best, which is fine. Am I correct in that
oh
statement?
yeah, I wasn't looking for your approval. I know it's fine.
No.
I
I
got
wasn't
it.
trying to approve or not. But you also said, like, okay, that's cool. But you also said that you were raising her to be a wife as well. Did you say that?
I didn't know. My specific words were, I'm not raising her to be a wife. I'm raising her to be a good person. Those were my words. That's probably where you
Okay.
missed it.
Yeah. See, thanks for clearing that up. Appreciate that.
Marcus, I don't know what it is with you and
the
women.
point
You
was
managed
when
to
she brought
piss
that
her
up.
off.
Hold on. The point was when she brought that up, she used the words out of the Bible said, "He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing." But if you wanted your daughter to be married, then you would raise her to be a wife. That way, when the man found her, he would find a wife, not a good person.
What I want for my daughter is for her to be happy. Whether that's being a wife, being a professional, being whatever it is, I want my child to be happy in whatever she chooses to do in her life. I'm not here to dictate what she does in her life as an adult, as a professional, whatever it is. She could be a stay-at-home mom. That could be her aspiration. And I hope she is the
So
best
you would
stay-at-home
condone her
mom
being
if that's what
another
she
single
wants.
mother, knowing what you're going through as a single mother. You would want to condone your daughter to go through the same issues.
I'm not saying I condone that. I don't want something hard for her. I want her to be happy.
Then
That's
why
it.
wouldn't you encourage your daughter from a young age to do the best that she can, so she wouldn't have to go down the roads that we go down as
Did I not
parents?
say
As
I
we
was
make
encouraging
mistakes.
her? I was encouraging her to be the
That's
best at whatever it
not the
is
way
she's
you
trying to
said
do.
it.
To talk to
That is
men.
not the way you
Did I
said it.
say I was encouraging her to be a single mom? Did I say I was
say she
encouraging her to go
can
out
be a
there and
single
spread her
mom.
legs and be a babe and have babies?
I
Did I
didn't
say
say
that?
that. You don't
But
you don't
where did
want you
that
to
come
address
from? I'm
it
trying to understand where that came from. If
because
I'm
you
saying I'm
said
raising her to be a
I
good
would be okay
person
with her
and to do
being
what
a
she loves to
single
do,
mother. You're saying I
if
would be
that's what
okay with her
happens
being a
in,
single.
I didn't say I was okay with that. I didn't. Why are you
You
putting,
just
y'all talking
said.
about me putting words in y'all's mouth? Y'all
Oh
are
my
the
God.
number one people to do that on this
Oh,
show.
Jesus.
That's
What are you
wild.
sipping on tonight?
Because
What are you
where did,
sipping on?
run it back,
What is
let's run
your
it back.
drink?
Where did I
What
say
is
I was
your
okay
drink
with
of
her being a
choice
single
tonight?
mom?
What is your drink of choice tonight? What are you sipping on over there?
This is
Life?
actually my first
Water?
glass of wine because I've been drinking water and I ain't even
Oh,
finished
okay.
with it. So
Woo.
no,
That
I'm
must
not
be some
drunk.
good port wine or something over there that you drinking.
It's not
So I,
port,
I
it's a
have I have
cab.
another
Thank
honest
you.
question, and this could be for anybody. When raising a young girl, is it how important is it to teach her how to interact with the man? And do you also use the men that's in your family as not necessarily practice, but like help in that, as in like uncles, brothers, cousins,
I
male
have
figures?
5 brothers and 2 sisters, and all of my brothers are extremely active in my daughter's lives.
That's what's up.
Good.
That's what's up. Cool.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, Bacchus, I actually like that question today. One of the things that I was thinking about when I was sitting here is, what could my mom have done differently that would have helped me as a young girl? And my mom, she, like I said, she worked at General Motors. My mother busted her behind to make sure that we lived in some nice neighborhoods, went to nice schools. She wanted to make sure we had a good education. But with that, my mom did not have the time to encourage us and support us in the things that we wanted to do. She didn't have the time. So, I don't fault my mom for that. However, I believe if my mother would have had the time to find the resources, I wish that we would have been made to go to after school programs. I wish that we would have been made to get more involved in the community, whatever that may look like. I wish that my mother would have had us around more families that had 2-parent homes when I was younger. When I was older, that happened a lot. But when I was younger, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for me to see what a 2-parent home looked like. What are you laughing at, Ronan?
Don't worry about him. He's being a fool. Go ahead, Miss Georgia. You making some bad.
You gotta.
Now, how you gonna misspell my name and it's on my screen?
So
damn.
Crazy.
So I feel like there's other ways for single moms to tap into those resources that will afford the kids some ability to have some of the influences of strong males, and I didn't have that. And again, I didn't get that until I was older, and I feel like a lot of things I struggled with, especially in high school, is because we weren't being motivated and we weren't being pushed. My mother was simply trying to keep us in school, keep us baby free, and keep her house clean. So there were a lot of things I missed out on. However, as I got older, I was able to find those things from other resources, primarily when I moved to Georgia and found my group of friends who were successful and forced me to take my butt to school. So I think there's other ways that single moms can find those influences, but first and foremost, if there isn't any other reason other than selfish reasons for the father not to be involved in the child's life, then encourage that and help facilitate that. I think it's very selfish when this is not happening just because he's with somebody else and he doesn't want to be with me, whatever. If there's an opportunity for that man to be in that child's life, then make it happen.
Amen.
Can I ask a question of Michaela before you read that super chat? I know that you said you're not raising your daughters to be a wife, but I hear this from so many women that I've talked to. They say, "Where are the gentlemen at? Where are the men who, when I was taught by my dad, it was taught to, in a sense, be a husband. You walk on the side of the traffic so your wife doesn't. You pull out the chair for your wife. All of those things, or you're a woman. You do all that. You open up the door for a woman. You do all of those things because those are the things that make a good husband. Why is it you wouldn't teach your daughter those things that would be a good wife? I don't understand what
What
you're
if my
saying. I
daughter
got to
doesn't
be a
want to
good
be a
person.
wife? What
Like
if
my
my daughter
dad taught
doesn't
me to
want to
be.
get married?
What's that?
What if she never wants to get married? What if that's not her aspiration? I'm teaching my daughter to be a
Okay,
good person, to be
can I ask you a
respectful,
question? What if
not to
she never
spend her
wants? What
entire
if
life
she
just to
never
be a
wants
wife.
to? What if she never wanted to write? You still teach her English. There's just certain common things that you teach them, even if they don't go into that. You
Yeah,
make them a
because she's gonna need
well-rounded
to know that
person.
whether she's got a man or not.
So there's certain things that she
Why
should
am I
know as a.
going? Why am I going to specifically focus on the aspect of being a wife when I need to teach her how to be a good person in this world? I need to teach her how to be respectful of everyone. I need to teach her how to be kind, how to be empathetic, how to be sympathetic, how to be a
What?
respectful person who is successful in this life. And whether or not she gets married, I don't know.
You don't think you
Why am I
should
gonna?
teach them skills that maybe they should do? Like my dad taught me how to hunt. It was like,
What skills?
okay, I
Let
can
me
see.
ask you this: what skills do you think I need to be teaching my daughter how to be a good wife? What skills do you think I need to be teaching her?
She know how to cook, clean. What
Those
other
are
Speak to
those
a
are
things?
life
man.
skills. I teach my daughters life skills. Those are life skills.
Would you say, Bacchus? I ain't want to
Speak to a
interrupt.
man. Not fight and
Correct.
argues. Try to fight a dude. Understand the
Conflict resolution,
Yeah, there we go.
They
Thank
learn
you.
communication.
conflict resolution. Period. Those are life skills. You got to learn how to deal with people. You have to learn how to interact with people, whether it's
There's a
male or
difference between
female.
conflict resolution when you can go your separate ways and not have to deal with the person, and conflict resolution when it comes to a relationship. Those
And
are
when
two
they
different
start
things.
having those relationships, when they start getting those little boyfriends or those crushes and stuff like that, and they go through those moments, those are teaching moments.
No, because then
My
it's too
brothers
late.
come and take my daughters out on the uncle niece date to show them how a man is supposed to treat them. My brothers are very active in my daughters' lives.
See what you
But
just
as
said?
for
Hold
me,
on. Your brothers do what?
they take my
What
daughters out.
to show them what?
How a man is supposed to treat them.
But there's no part that your daughter show how to treat a man. That's what I'm
That's what we're
talking
trying
about.
to get
Every
at.
Because
man
they're
is
not.
raised to treat a dog.
If
Every
they're
man is
seeing me
raised
as
on
an
how to treat a
example, if
woman,
they are
but a
seeing
woman is
me,
never raised on how to treat a man. That's what I keep saying.
if they are watching me as an example with the man that I choose to be with, how is that not teaching them how to be? If
But
I'm
you don't
out here
got no
being
man.
reckless and being disrespectful, who says I don't have a man?
You said you're
I
not
said I'm not
married.
married. That don't
She
mean
said she's
I
not
don't have a
married,
man.
Baptist.
Watch
Yeah, she got
yourself,
divorced, right?
Bacchus. Don't assume nothing now over
Watch
No,
there.
she said
yourself,
she got divorced.
Bacchus. Watch yourself,
Yeah,
Bacchus.
Yeah, she got
Just because she
divorced.
yeah,
got
What you mean?
divorced, don't
Maybe
mean
you
she
won't
ain't
be
had
stuck
no
with your
other
man for the
man.
rest of your
yeah.
life,
You know she
Bacchus.
live in Dallas, right? So,
Anyways,
there's plenty of
I
men
know she
around there.
did.
They got money. They got money around there too. What you mean?
it's not even about that. Like whether I have money or not, I
I'm
know
just
how.
saying it's
Like
part of the prerequisites. That's all I'm saying.
Go ahead
But
and read
anyway,
that super chat.
let me send this out real quick. Darnell Elliott with another $5 super chat. He said, "Why is Miss Michaela?" And he apologized for misspelling your name because he said he has glaucoma. Do not laugh with that mouthful of wine that you got in your mouth, because he says, hating on the god of wine and fertility. What did he do to you?
That's what I
I'm
be
not
wanting to
hating
know.
on anybody.
Okay.
Miss Georgia, I got a quick question before I get out of here. I got Bible study in the morning. How do you
Thank you,
feel about
Jesus.
men who a man with no
God save
child
the church
getting
that
with
you
a
go
woman
to.
with several children by several, multiple by multiple?
Wait.
What is your-
Repeat the beginning of that.
the Bible study thing?
No.
No.
Why is
The
it?
question.
How do you feel about a man getting with a woman who has multiple children?
A
Whether
man with
by
no
one man
children.
or multiple?
What is your take on a single man with no children dating a woman with multiple by multiple? What's your 2 cents on that, out of curiosity?
I'm not okay with that.
Okay. Why not?
Don't elaborate, Bacchus. That was your one question, brother.
No,
You gotta go. You got Bible study in the morning, remember?
Yeah.
And let's get we got Richard and we got Black Man Travels. I think his
Bye,
question,
have a good night.
his was don't be average.
Happy Valentine's to you, and happy Valentine's, Miss Kayla, as well, and everybody else.
Thank
Hope you have a good
you.
night.
Yes, sir.
We got Richard and BMT. Richard, go ahead. Richard, you did say something that I do not agree with. You said something about self-esteem is self-achieved. sometimes you have to build someone's self-esteem, man. I mean, I don't think sometimes you can just get it. I think we talked about that when it came to confidence last week or sometime. But go ahead, Richard.
How are my levels?
Good.
Always good. Always good.
Good.
Well, we meet again.
Yes.
Oh, he's about to side with y'all. He all kind of simping up in here.
Simping has been very successful for me. Not so much in Thailand, but certainly throughout life in America, and
this is that 20%
loving
guy
and
look out for him.
Enjoying my experience with beautiful Black women like the ladies who've joined the panel tonight. As usual, you knuckle draggers can't seem to break
proud
through.
of it too. Proud knuckle draggers.
Can't seem to break through the cave that you're in. Understand that these women are right and you're wrong.
What are they right about?
Please explain.
Everything.
Oh Lord, you are back.
So they're right to not teach a woman how to be a wife. They're right about I forgot what else they were saying, but tell me what they're right.
All right, so I want to speak to that first because that's the most recent comment or conversation you guys had. Michaela, keep doing your thing, sis. Teach these women how to find themselves, and just like any human being, self-actualize, meaning that find yourself and live your life. Self-actualize, as Abraham Maslow taught. Teach these young people what these knuckle draggers don't know.
Uh-oh. What don't we know?
It's all about the power of you. Oh, no. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. What you guys are thinking about are these trad wives, these traditional wives, because all I hear you guys talking about is cook, clean, and shut up. Are you serious?
Let me do this.
Nobody said that.
Yeah. So
I heard you say that earlier. Hold on. Ronan sounded like he just wanted a warm rock to lay his body on. Wait. Sound like an episode of The Simpsons.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Ronan, he called you a lizard, bro.
Yeah.
And Ronan, nice koofy.
Hey,
he called you a
lizard. I mean, lizard brother.
He called you a
Hold
lizard.
And a knuckle
You
dragger.
said all you want to do is come home, have a clean house, some food, and a comfortable body to cuddle up to.
I said peace. I said whatever that means in peace.
Well, that's what it sounded like on this.
Because Richard, what I'm always going to ask, and I think I got off subject when I was talking about it when I asked about the prize.
Ladies, you're right. You guys
I always ask a woman this if a guy asked me that. I said, all right. And this is what I wrote for him. I say, when you say you're the prize, please explain to me how the prize benefits me. How you being the prize puts more money in my pocket. How does you being the prize make you an asset and not a liability? You say that you are the table, but what does you bring to the table that would make my life easier? So that's always what you should ask. So when you say, yeah, be the best, how does that benefit me? And then I went on to break this down. So he said, ask if I was to answer the question that the woman said to me. I would say, okay, one, let's start with education. I'm educated with 2 undergraduate degrees and a master's degree and countless certificates. How does that benefit me? How does that benefit us? And how does that benefit you? Those are the questions that you need to be asking. That means I cherish education, and it puts me in a position that no matter what the circumstances, I'm able to excel in various fields, so that if we ever in a case that business tumbles, I have the necessary skills to always be providing and always transition. That means I have a significant, that means that you don't have to worry about the situation. And if it financially is disruptive, I have the ability to find ways to provide financial. So hold up, that's how it benefit. What I'm saying is, you being the prize, when you say a woman, I have to say me. How does that benefit me being educated? How does that benefit me being educated. That means you never gonna have to worry about me not having a job. Also, how does that benefit us? That means that I'm going to help my children out, that I value education. I went on to show him, okay, what about being physically fit? It's going to make me look good. That's going to make rambling. Brother, you alone, you ain't had no woman in 10 years. I don't know what you're talking about. That's probably why.
Man, he checked the stats on me. 10 years, damn.
You mad at me. You in Thailand in the world of land and honey by yourself. There might be a reason for that.
That's
years.
boy.
And what's really tragic, amongst the manosphere, mangosphere, and the passport bros is the concept that being celibate is a problem.
Nobody said that. That's a choice.
Well, that's what it sounds like.
It's not a
like
problem.
if I was a monk. Wait, hold on. If I was a monk and I chose celibacy,
you are technically a monk. You are technically a monk.
But it's not just, but it's not just the manosphere. I mean, like when a woman insults you, for example, what's the first insult she goes with? Oh, you can't get no kitty cat. You a loser anyway, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not just the manosphere. You know, that I think that's just what people do in general.
Hold on there.
Hey guys,
Darnell.
before we go further, I do have to hop off, but I just want to say it's been a pleasure.
Oh, Michaela, I had some questions for you. But
I can stay on for questions real quick, but I do have to hop off.
Let me tell you, you look fabulous. You in Georgia. That you
way
bring
over
this
in Thailand. Calm down, sir.
And brother, you was just a radio host. You wasn't the best radio host there was, so she ain't got nothing for you.
That's what I do.
Oh, that's
I didn't say. Whatever.
Okay, let him get his questions out. Go ahead and get your questions out without rambling, Richard.
Piano in the background, you look like Alicia Keys.
Richard, you go around Robin Hood's barn a lot. We need you to get direct questions out to Michaela so she can get them out and she can go ahead and go to bed and we can continue our conversation. But go ahead and fire off your questions that you have for her.
Throw the grenade. Flag out.
It's just a flashbang. Calm down. I have no further questions from Kayla. You got to go. You are right. These cavemen are wrong.
BMT, do you have a question from Michaela before she goes? Because you just came up. Black man, he fell asleep on our last podcast. Yeah, he did. We ended it. He was knocked out. He a
new daddy, man. He can't stay awake this late.
Yeah, he got.
Kanal, are you there, brother?
No.
He might be sleeping.
Mic check.
Yeah, he did. He fell asleep. He literally.
I'm here. Oh, okay.
You just woke up.
Do you have any questions for Michaela before she goes? Because we're asking about Michaela. Do you have any questions for Michaela before she goes? Because she says she has to get off.
No, I don't.
I don't know what kind of single moms you know, but you need to up your circle, baby. If the only people you know got OnlyFans as single moms.
You can't read the chats. We keep telling you don't read the
I know, Michaela, do not set yourself up like that.
I ain't got no OnlyFans, baby. And if the only single moms you know, those are the ones that have them, you need to change your circle of friends because that's sad.
Can I posit one last question from Michaela? Can I posit one last question from Michaela? Michaela.
Yes.
Can you go over to that grand piano and type and key in?
That's just the background.
Yeah, come on, brother.
That is a fake background.
I was going to ask the same thing.
I was going to say how to play the piano. She's on a green screen right now. She is on a green screen right now, bro.
I'm on a green screen, guys.
Get out.
Stop it.
Thank you, Michaela.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you for coming on. Don't
hey, we like that feistiness. Thank you for showing up and showing out. Not backing down.
I appreciate you guys having me. It's been fun.
We just bring the heat so you can bring it back and get these guys.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't.
Bye,
guys. And then there was one.
I know. Well, so I wanted to close out. I mean, not necessarily the show, but the therapy goals that I focus on with women and girls that come into therapy with daddy issues. because I think it's important to know what we work on, what we focus on. So first and foremost is building self-worth and identity, developing a positive self-image, and challenging negative beliefs about self-worth, healing abandonment and trust issues, identifying and processing feelings of rejection, loss, and resentment, developing healthy relationship patterns, address any patterns of seeking validation from men or avoiding intimacy altogether. Processing emotional regulation and coping strategies, helping them to develop tools to manage stress, anxiety, fear of rejection, and feelings of loneliness, strengthening independence without hyper independence, meaning finding a balance between self sufficiency and allowing emotional support from others. And also overcoming patterns of overachievement and perfectionism rooted in proving worth. And then last, reframing father's absence in a healthy way, work through forgiveness if beneficial or acceptance of the situation, and then separate personal identity from the father's choices or absence. So
I have two questions as a follow-up. You know, me being a father of a girl, how do men raise children so they do not have daddy issues? The second would be, what about a man dating a girl with daddy issues? How do they do it? So,
I like
because
that.
because it's not about being in the home, because we just said you can be in the home, be an absent father or something like that, and still your child could have daddy issues. So if you could help me out with those two questions.
So I think as a father, it's important to teach your girls that it's okay to be vulnerable. So allow your girls to see you express a range of emotions: fear, sadness, hurt. When girls only see their fathers present in one way, they don't understand emotions, and that it is okay and normal for men to have a range of emotions. So be willing to be vulnerable and talk to kids about being scared. When you lose a loved one, have conversations about, okay, this, daddy's hurting, daddy's sad, daddy lost somebody he loves. And you don't always have to present with this cold front. Having conversations, having one-on-one time with your girls, teaching them what it is like and what it should look like to be with a healthy man. Opening the doors. Chivalry is not dead. Teaching them, yes, you should be walking on the car side of the street. You said that earlier, and I was like, golly, it's like I remember teaching AJ that when he was walking around with my nieces. I'm like, why are they walking on the car side of the street? But he didn't know that. Teaching them what conflict looks like. One of the things that has been coming up recently with one of the women that I'm working with is that she always wanted to present a united, healthy, perfect front in front of her children when it came to conflict with her husband. And so right now they're going through something, and she said, my biggest fear is letting my kids know our marriage wasn't perfect. Dad was emotionally unavailable, and she tried to pick up the pieces and make everything in a pretty box, so they never saw mom and dad resolve conflict. That is not okay. Kids need to see their parents argue and resolve conflict in a healthy way. It is normal to have disagreements in marriage. So a physically present father can be emotionally unavailable, not only with the children, but also in the marriage. And that is not okay. So, mirroring the things that you may not have necessarily seen in your upbringing, or making sure that you also model the positive things that you did see. There's just a list of things of how fathers can instill the values and the things necessary for girls to be healthy, thriving individuals.
And the other part was dating someone with those issues, how do you resolve those conflicts as a man?
You can't. I mean, it's a good try. I tell women often, you know, they're frustrated with their mate and in working through helping them work through their issues. It is not a man's job to fix a woman. It is not a woman's job to fix a man. If you recognize that you're having issues, or there's a pattern of issues that you continue to have in your relationships, it's up to you to fix it. It's up to you to go out there and say, you know, I need help. This is what I want to address. Men can't fix everything. Women can't fix everything.
Can I offer some pushback on that?
No,
Doctor?
hold up. No, wait. This is something I've talked to you guys about wholeheartedly. I've tried to help women through therapy. I've identified and helped them go through therapy, but it is not on you to fix them. It is for you to encourage and support them.
Correct.
But it is not for you to fix them. I know it's in our nature to want to fix everything. There's certain things you cannot fix. There's sometimes where she might tell you something and she just wants you to listen and shut the fuck up. Okay?
Yeah,
There's
so
nothing that you can add to that.
May I ask a question of Miss Georgia?
Hold up. I think Richard was next.
But then
go
you
ahead.
go after.
Go ahead,
No,
Richard.
I will defer to my man Darnell.
All right. And BMT, please, at any time, sir. You
I have
know
a quick question.
Well,
that
actually, I
is-
mean, the whole purpose of me coming up was to answer the question. You know, you guys are being some bad hosts. I'm just sitting here waiting for you guys to ask me.
Well,
you are ready.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I wanted to ask the question in regards to like daddy issues or whatever. I experienced that personally. I mean, I was raised without my father. Although my father was in Haiti, I was not part of his life due to the fact that my mother decided to leave the country. But growing up, I had to deal with that, you know, not having a father in my life, being raised with sisters. I have an older brother with 5 sisters, and there's me. So not having a father in my life did play an important role. You know, a lot of stuff I had to learn the hard way. I didn't have anyone to guide me through the process. So I always had that chip on my shoulder. Even now, I still have it. So to the point where I always have to like prove myself to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And now with 3 boys, 21, 13, and 1, I don't want them to experience what I experienced. So I'm always been there for my kids. Like I'll take time off, I'll leave work early, I do whatever. I'll always be there with them. And also teaching the life skills that I was never taught because I had to learn from the streets to learn from watching others. So the whole daddy issue thing, it does apply to men. A lot of us are experiencing that. So we try to make it up, you know, through relationships, through we try to compensate not having a father in our lives to help guide us. And that's something I had to learn to deal with. And I've come to terms to accept it. A lot growing up, my mother used to always, you know, pump her chest like, hey, you know, I'm your mother and your father. Until one day I checked her and I told her, like, don't ever tell me that again. You're just my mother. You never was my father. You never will be my father. And she was taken back by that. And to this day, she doesn't say that now, but it got to the point where it was bothering me each time she used to say that. And it's, you know, I think we all kind of go through this and we deal with it in our own certain way. Lucky for me, I was raised in a community of good people, men and women, who helped guide me through the process. But like I always said before, the fact that I was able to accomplish a lot from where I came from, imagine if I had a dad to help guide me through the process. So
my question to you is, even though you didn't have a father and you're compensating, do you see some things that you're still doing that your father did?
I didn't know what my father did. I wasn't raised with him.
But just with that, like you were absent. You know, maybe you didn't show vulnerability. Something that you're emulating subconsciously. I
think more than anything, I tend to work too hard, where I don't stop and enjoy the moment with my kids. I try to focus so much on providing because I grew up poor. So I always made sure that my kids went without. I'd rather not treat myself to anything or do anything for myself, but my kids will be fully taken care of. So I think sometimes watching a dad loving his wife, loving, a dad, loving his kids, I never seen that. So a lot of those things I had to learn through watching TV or watching my friends experiencing that with their fathers. So again, a lot of trial and error in my life, a lot of trials. And it was just like I had to learn the hard way. But lucky for me, God sent, certain people in your life to help guide you. But again, imagine if I had my dad to sit down and talk to me. And that's one thing that typically when people always tell me, like, who's that one person you would like to meet in your life? It's never been a celebrity, never been someone famous, whatever. This is my dad. I want to sit down and talk to him. Like, hey, I know that it wasn't your fault that, you couldn't have been in my life because you sacrificed for my mother to come to the US. But it would have been great to sit down and talk to him. It would have been great to sit down and touch him and see him in the face. Like, all I had was just a picture. That's all I had. And the way he and I used to communicate, this is back in the 80s, I used to record myself on a tape recorder and we'll mail it back to Haiti and he'll do the same. And they got to the point where it just stopped. So, I went life without a dad, without anyone guiding me. I mean, I had a lot of anger to the point where I was fighting every day because I didn't know how to control my anger. I didn't know how to guide my anger. And but through the grace of God, thank God I haven't been shot, especially in the community that I lived in. So
I got another question for you, because what we also talked about was mommy issues. Do you think that because how you were raised that you have some mommy issues?
No, I don't have no mommy issues.
So I want you to think about it. Think about how your
Yeah,
mom.
you do, BDT. You got mommy issues, brother.
No, I don't.
Man, no, he don't. Because he already broke. He just sat here and said, and y'all missed it, both of y'all.
I didn't miss it. He said that to his mom, but that doesn't mean
wait,
your mom doesn't mean you don't have mommy issues.
Let me just say this real quick, because I make a point in this: as men having conversations with their mother, breaking that son-husband role that mothers try to put their sons into. He spoke to that very plainly, and you guys didn't
If he
acknowledge.
spoke to it, that means he had an issue. Wouldn't you? If you only speak to it if you have an issue, sir.
Well, the thing is, all right, guys, don't try
Georgia,
to force.
what do you think,
I'm
Georgia?
gonna let him speak for himself.
Listen, I'm speaking for me. Don't try to force whatever situation you think that I experienced. I don't have any mother issues. I checked her. The fact that she kept saying that, and it bothered me. And I feel like, hey, listen, once I said it one time, she never said it again. So I have no issues. The thing is for a man to grow up the way he did without a father, it's not easy. So this whole notion when people say that, hey, I could raise him by, I could raise my child by myself. No, you can't. I was raised in the hood of Miami, fucking, in the projects. And I'm a successful statistic in my neighborhood. Most of my friends got shot, went to jail. They ain't doing shit. So
you're an anomaly.
All I'm saying is this, not having father life to this day is still a big void in my life, because I watch my kids, I play with them, I talk to them. I wish I experienced this. That's it. I mean, I come to terms. I got no issues. I have no ill will towards my dad. I went back to Haiti after he passed. I seen his gravesite. I made peace with it, and I kept it moving. That's it. Well, I understand when a young man is going through a situation where he doesn't have that male figure in his life, and not an uncle, not a teacher. I mean, a father. Like, this is the guy that, that birthed me, that helped birth me. Every man who grew up without a father will always experience that. Like, damn, I wish I had that.
Can I step into the void here and make some comments? Because I would love to hear how Georgia would break that down too. But Black Man Travels, that's life as a man. That's all there is. You might not have watched the movie Roots when the father of Kunta Kinte took him out to the jungle and find your way back home. Perhaps you might have watched the movie 300 And when he was marched off and looked backwards at his mother, and she said, "Go on, boy." You know, that's life, bro. Nothing that you're saying didn't happen at some level or some subtle nuance to me, or to Phyllis, or to Ronan, and even to Georgia, to my man Darren, or Daryl, I'm sorry. We've all been through that. That's just life.
I understand that. Listen,
Bro,
I
I said
understand
this,
that.
I said this a while ago. It's like, I was talking to Georgia about the letting go of things. If you keep waking up, you'll find that break-off point. If you're Simba in the movie, or whoever you are as a man and as a woman, you'll find that break-off point. Like when a bird leaves its nest. It's the simplest way to explain it to most humans who can fly. That's just life, bro. There's going to come a hold on. I'm gonna put it in park right here. I was just driving around the block trying to find a parking space. There's gonna come a point in life where you're gonna put it in park. You're gonna like just let it go and move on, and you're right about there.
Okay. You landed your plane?
He landed. And BMT, this is what I was
I
saying.
don't fly, I drive. I park my car.
Okay.
I don't know your mother. And so, but what I heard from you, and I can only say what I've seen from other people. When you said, she said she was the mother and the father. Usually what I've seen is it's a lot of what they call emotional neglect. Like the mother is physically present, but emotionally unavailable because she feels that she has to take on the role of the mother and the father, or she's overbearing. Where I've seen this with my son, the mother, where they're overbearing, they're controlling, and so especially when it comes to the son, where either you have to become like the man of the house, or they just don't let you mature to become a man. So they protect you. They can't play sports. You can't do this, where it's become overly protective. So that's what I meant when I say those mommy issues, because a lot of times when you see it, it's like you see a mother who is emotionally unavailable, and that translates further in life.
I had a quick question for Miss Georgia. That list that you listed off, is that for both men and women, or was that just for the women?
It is for men and women.
So the only problem I have with that is, I think for you to do anything of that, your first thing you have to do is take accountability. And if you don't do that, you can't start fixing anything.
I have to agree with Marcus on that one.
Well, wait a minute. Well, when people come into therapy, most of them are taking accountability for where they are.
Not always. Sometimes people in therapy, like they'll try to make themselves out to be the victim, and they want to hear confirmation that they're right from the therapist. There's a lot of people that do that.
No, that's not.
Actually, that is true.
No, Darnell, I'm actually talking about experiences that I've had in therapy. When people are coming into therapy that are not being forced or court ordered, they're actually taking accountability for what's going on in their lives, and they want to fix it. So you're telling me that that's not what happens. I'm telling you that that's what happens.
Wow, that sounds fairly familiar with conversations we've had.
I went through, like I said, I did go through rehab, and I have met some of these people.
That's you, and it's interesting because Darnell, that's actually a population that I will not work with. I will not work with substance abuse, and I will not work with personality disorders. Why do you think
isn't that like a majority of people that need therapy?
Darnell, why do you think that is?
I have no idea, but I think that's the majority of people that need therapy, though, isn't it?
That is absolutely not true. So the majority of people who are coming in with substance abuse and a personality, let me.
They're forced. They're forced to be there.
Well,
not necessarily. I wasn't forced.
And being an addict is an addictive personality that requires a lot of manipulation of a lot of people so you can continue your habit. Okay. So those are the people who will not take accountability. So in your situation, Darnell, yes, when you're in substance abuse groups, a lot of them are not taking accountability. That is different from somebody coming in for anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, all of those things. Substance abuse is a whole different ballgame.
Your experiences are validated because you've lived them. Just want to say that.
I'm sorry?
Your experiences are validated because you lived them. Just wanted to say that.
Right.
Because you've experienced them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying there are people that do try to use the system to to gain sympathy.
You're absolutely right. But of course, that's not all. That's not the
No,
majority.
no, I'm not. Yeah, and I'm not suggesting it is the majority.
That's a finite amount of groups. So she's talking about the ones that she's dealt with personally that were taking accountability and weren't just there to get their next kind of fix.
Correct.
Okay. So what about do you do couples counseling?
I do.
Okay. So how many couples have you counseled where it might have been a wife that
off topic, man? We can't go off that topic, man. You take us way off, and we trying to get off.
How am I?
This is daddy issues. What do you got to do with that? You talk about couples. We on daddy issues. I think the only person that really stuck it in the home run was BMT. Let him continue if he needs to.
Real quick, did you need to leave, Georgia? Because you said something about you ready to go to bed.
I'm going to bed. It's been a very long day.
Final comment from you, and then at BMT, did you have anything for Georgia, Richard, Bacchus?
No.
I do have one thing though, if I may.
Okay.
All right. So, like, I understand what you're saying about as a man, there's not you and the panel, of course. As a man, there's nothing you can really do to fix, a woman with daddy issues. But like, I'm not even talking about like a woman that you're dating. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. You just you got to just let her alone and have her work on it. I agree with that. But at the same time, like when you have a relative, for example, that, okay, this is your sister or say a female cousin of yours, at that point, it's a little different. Like, say they got a spending and a drinking problem. How would you go about?
We're not talking about daddy issues. And at the end of the day, my stance is people cannot fix other people. When there's an issue,
I understand that.
When an individual has an issue, it is up to them to recognize that there's a problem and then get help for that problem and then put those strategies into play so that they can be a different person. People can't fix other people. I don't care what the situation is, whether it's addiction, whether it's cheating, whether it's anxiety, depression, whatever. People cannot fix other people. As a therapist, my job is not to fix other people. My job is to help people see where their negative patterns are and to address those. I can't fix anybody.
Right. But I'm saying, you got to have some kind of strategy to help them see where they're going wrong, to help put them on the path to fix themselves. There's got to be a strategy. And that's what I'm asking here.
Correct. That's what therapy is. Therapy is strategies and modalities.
I would like I'd like to offer some pushback.
On what?
To Georgia.
Y'all are sitting here pushing back on a woman's profession. She does it every day.
No, I'm not pushing. I'm not pushing back.
I said I had some pushback. Donnell, let me just get my pushback in. I can fix people, Georgia.
Stop it.
You're the only one, brother.
I have wait. I have receipts. I have fixed people.
Okay, Jesus. I'm quiet.
Hey, I got one question. This is for the panel, and I brought this up. I think Richard brought this up to me, and this is just
Good
a
night,
question.
George.
No, don't. This is just to make things better in performance. I think BMT kind of said it, and it kind of hit me the way I was thinking before when he said, "Hey, I'm a guest. I'm trying to talk." Do you guys think it's better? And I think Richard, you wrote me an email about this, to just bring up one person at a time to have a conversation and then go to another person, or to have everyone at once?
Yeah, I like that.
The one person at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in my opinion, I think when you bring everyone up, people get talked over, and it seems to me that the loudest voice is the one that gets heard, or the one who interrupts the most is the only person that gets heard, where someone who may be respectful like BMT, he doesn't get a chance to talk because he's actually being more respectful. So would you guys like to see us just bring one person, allow them to talk, say that, then bring another person and allow them to talk? Because other people, if you look at Andre, they don't even bring nobody up. He's like, this is my show, and that's who I am, and you're going to listen to me all day.
Might I suggest this? Segments. Give Georgia her segment. Give Michaela her segment. Let them do 2, 3, 5, whatever they're willing to script. Open up the show later in the time that you guys stream for questions, Q&As. I think as I was listening to you guys today, real quick, I'm like, wow, I wonder if Georgia got the script. I wonder if Michaela got the script. I wonder if Ronan and Fearless have a script. You got stuff you want to talk about, the beauty of live streaming on YouTube. But I wonder if they got a script so you can hit bullet points along the conversation and then open up the show in segments where you can have Q&As. Come back with more commentary. You're doing at least 2 to 3 hours. That would be my suggestion production-wise. But aside from all that, Georgia, you are really an incredible addition to this panel. If they can figure out how, because they're knuckle scrapers, they're knuckle draggers. If they can figure out how to produce the show in segments where everybody can get that piece, not me, BMT, Bacchus, whoever else wants to come up, open phone lines. We're opening our phone lines right now. If you do that, you'll get more people. And please do not ignore the comments. I know you're telling each other, don't read the comments.
Oh, no, my self-esteem is not set up that way. No, man. No, sir. I will not read the comments.
All right, that's fine. You don't got it.
You know how you get
you don't got it.
Hey,
I'm good because I know Bacchus goes in.
I'm gonna say it the way it is. This is a business. You want to know how you get your comment read? Put in a super chat.
Cash app.
Yeah,
Well, but I do think that this does happen. I think that sometimes
that petty,
we show comments and it disrupts the conversation.
Correct.
Because this is what'll happen. You'll be talking and then you'll do this, and then you'll be like, Margaret, and then you just interrupted whatever someone was saying.
Yeah.
And you take them off their whole thing, and then we talk about the comment.
It's distracting.
Correct. And I think I've seen that many times where you're reading the comment and you're not paying attention to what the person is saying, and then you put the comment up, and whatever they just said was negated because the comment.
Because I lose it because I go to the comment and I stop listening, and that's just my ADHD. So yeah, I think the comments are important. But I think after somebody makes a statement, you can say, hey, we're about to pull up a comment, not in the midst of.
I agree.
Georgia, you got ADHD?
Oh, it's horrible. It is horrible.
Is that why y'all hate me so much?
BMT, you were part of the Lion's Den on Friday. I'd like your opinion on that. Because I think I brought that up previously.
Never thought, Georgia.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea of bringing people up in one at a time.
I mean, personally, I'm not against it. It's just like you know me when I'm a host, man. There's certain things I don't tolerate, so it is what it is, man.
Fearless, may I chime in?
Go ahead, sir.
I I'll be honest with you. I see no reason to change it, and the only reason I say that is because for the most part, believe it or not, you have a very tame audience. People that come on the panel, they're not. I don't. For the most part, they're not showing their ass or anything. You know. I think. Yeah. I mean. Yeah. I mean. There's some jokes and a few zingers that come up, but for the most part, I think majority of the people that come on your show are very respectful. Believe me, I've been on some panels where people just act a damn fool, scream over the next person. And I'll be honest, I don't really see that now. As your channels get bigger, and you may have to implement that, you know what I mean? Because you're going to have people that, as the bigger you get, the more riffraffs that are going to come in. So maybe down the road, but for now, if I was in your shoes, sir, I wouldn't change it. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but I think if you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got, and you got to constantly try to improve. And what happens is I listen to it on playback. So I'll just be honest with you. I listen to it on playback. Sometimes you can't hear anything, and I'll give the honest truth. Even with my wife, she says, "Hey, you need some different people." She says every week the same people coming up with the same thing, saying the same stuff. It gets boring. And I don't want to be like that other show that we talk about where it's the same three people and it's talking about the same three things and it gets stale. I want to bring something that, where it's different people to talk about different things, or at least talk about that idea. Sometimes what happens is we go back to that's why I say I got to direct y'all and y'all get mad. But if we bring up a subject, it's hard to do segments because we talk about something entirely different that has nothing to do with the subject. And I want to get on that subject so we can dice it and break that subject up. And then talk about something at a later show instead of making it just open and we talk about anything. It doesn't help.
So if I could suggest this one more time, Fearless, Ronan, Georgia, Black Man Travels, create a 4-piece, 4 major topics, subtopics from there, segments of your stream where you can open up the lines. You're already moving in that direction. But I promise you, Georgia probably had no idea other than maybe an email like, yeah, we're going to talk about this week. Break it down. I really
actually Georgia wanted this subject.
Yeah, no, I actually have a script.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know why you're coming here assuming that nobody is prepared, bruh.
Yeah,
I got all kind of notes up on my screen. Why do you think my head? Why do you think you see my head doing this? Why do you think I'm
never assuming you're not prepared.
Of course, we're prepared. I'm
never assuming you're not prepared. I'm just suggesting let the ladies talk more. Find segments of the show where people, valuable contributors like Black Man Travels, Bacchus, Darnell can come in. Not me. I'm going to come in and poke the bear. You know what I do. But I'm not saying you're not prepared in any kind of way. But the way that the conversation becomes so elastic and all the other channels and stuff that I've done, I kind of think, okay, they're dialing it in. I get it. It's not like that. Please do not take me wrong.
I actually like it. I appreciate the feedback.
Very special. And I said that to both Fearless and Ronan in emails. You are that next wave of conversation. Who else is going to save us? It's you two dudes. You two troglodytes.
It was going so
and
good.
I say that to you with all due respect, and I'm just joking because I really love this channel. I really do. I'm tapped in.
And this is also to the chat. If you guys have any suggestions, please let us know. We want to make sure that this is interesting. We want to improve, and we want to make this.
Matter of fact, let's go all the way. Our app. We're about to change our app over from StreamYard. We're done with this. We're not paying.
Oh, are you?
StreamYard.
We're trying to get the OBS.
We're switching over to OBS or Streamlabs, and that's.
I used to use OBS back in the early 2000s,
and so we're not going to be able to bring up all the people that you normally could bring up if we go.
So why are you going to OBS?
because we're going to control it a little bit better. It's going to be a higher production value, higher quality video that we're
not sure about your
improving.
production value aspiration, but you're doing really good right now.
Believe me, the transitions
Y'all
will be a
look
lot smoother. There'll be a lot more things going on. That app has been around for a while for a reason.
I used to use it, my brother.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I said it's been
not for
around,
this-
and it's a
not
good
for
app
this.
to use.
It's not for this engagement, though. It's really not. It's not for this type of engagement.
Yeah, when you got Streamlabs, I think you can.
Streamlabs looks similar to this. It's just not the same app.
If
Okay, I have to go to bed.
Yeah, go. Yeah, no.
We're gonna huddle up.
Hey, we want to say to you, Happy Valentine's Day.
I said it first.
Yeah, have fun. I hope you have some things planned with you and the hubby. And
Well, don't get the hubby in trouble if you didn't. But
you get the dog treats, man. They need a Valentine's too.
I did. Dog treats. My husband gets. We got a day. Yes, tomorrow and Saturday. We got.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know how men are really treated when you see how they're treated on Father's Day compared to women on Mother's Day. But hey, that's another topic for another time. Hey, fellas, can you play my video before we go out? Because that's a hot one right there. That's funny.
Yeah, we're gonna let Georgia go though. She has to get up out.
All right. Good night.
Daddy wasn't there. Austin Powers. Oh, I'll get to that.
I thought about
that's
that.
A classic, Bacchus. That's a classic.
It is a classic. You ain't gonna get copyrighted for that.
You sure?
Yeah. Yeah, you will. Don't play it. Don't even try it.
It's a fake song from a movie. It's 1 minute. Is it 1 minute?
Yeah, they still get you.
Add it as a backlink.
How long can you play it? That makes it not a copyright. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
None.
8 seconds?
Maybe.
Let me tell you about WMG, Warner Music Group.
You mean
that's
none?
Yeah.
That's both a song, and if you play the video, you got two different layers of mechanical rights.
You don't get back pocket for next time.
Yeah, Warner's very strict. Warner's very strict. He ain't lying about that.
All of them are strict. What you mean? You don't need listen, y'all. Y'all don't even understand. We're yellow right now. We haven't done shit besides put a title up, and we're yellow. The minute we start playing the videos, even some of these little screenshots of videos we're doing as reaction, we get hit.
And so just so a lot of you guys don't know what yellow means, it just means when you're green, that means it plays to all advertisers.
Yeah.
When you're yellow, it limits the advertisers that it goes to. And we were yellow before we even started the first video. Only on our title got us yellow.
Yeah, I'm not DEI. I gotta have BMT on this more.
Damn, bro. You didn't.
If we could huddle up, I could suggest something to you brothers, Ronan and Fearless.
We'll talk offline on all that.
A server. You need a server.
Yeah,
you need a multi-terabyte server to put your own content on. Use YouTube and social media and whatever else as a teaser to draw them back to in your background.
That's what Rumble is for.
Yeah. Well, Rumble you don't own, and Rumble can go out of business, and there's all your data. You probably want a multi-terabyte because you guys don't produce that much. It'll work. A multi-terabyte server. I would do redundancy. Ronan and Fearless get a multi-terabyte server, record every show to that server. And then maybe you want to launch a website and get completely off grid. Use the grid for promotion, but have your backup. So that way you're never yellow, you're always green, put it behind a paywall, and all your content is yours. That's how you get rich in this game. I've won and lost in this streaming game. Hey Bacchus, can you run my lyrics? I got a story to tell. I'm not gonna bore you with it right now.
Hey guys, I got to bounce, man. So talk to you guys later.
I'm not finna.
All right.
But on the huddle tip, if you guys were just to get onto Amazon and look at a cloud service or some storage devices in your crib,
Yeah, we're not going to a server. We're not going to a server right now. We tell you that right now.
We're not big enough.
That ain't even worth our time right now.
Okay.
As we grow, we might go that direction, but for right now, we just need the viewership more so than the server. But
thank you, brothers, for having me up as always.
Just make sure you hit that like button, Richard. Go to the comments on each of ours.
I already did, man. I'm already
thumbs up. Watch my new video I just dropped today on the other one. Make sure you watch that.
Saw it earlier.
Yeah. So you
tapped in, left a comment in the chat, and all of that.
Appreciate that, my friend. Appreciate.
Keep doing your work, my brothers. Keep doing your work. Bacchus, Darnell, appreciate y'all, man.
Yep.
Been in the space for a minute. Kind of give you guys some ideas on how to monetize it, but we'll talk about that offline.
We are listening. You see, I brought up one of your comments that you were talking about today. So
appreciate you.
All right, I got Bible study.
All right, fellas, we are out of here.
An hour ago, man. You done missed it.
I know, right?
Let's say rolling around on the ground with the Holy Ghost. You done missed it.
Marcus, you still studying the Bible? You look like you're at least 40. You still studying?
Oh yeah, man. Got them ladies praising for the Lord.
All right, we're gonna let y'all talk about the Lord later. We out of here, fellas. We are going. Guys, make sure y'all like, give us a comment, thumbs up, put a heart in there, a gem or something to let you know you listen to if you're on the replay. Let us know that we're there. Comments helps, likes helps. Even if you watch, just go to work, press play, even if you don't watch, to help us with the advertisement and the algorithm. That'll be great. We appreciate it. Until next time. Hey, happy Valentine's Day, man. Valentine's Day isn't just for the ladies. Make sure you get yourself something. Self-care is health care.
Hello.
We out of here.
Peace.
Hello.
I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. The crash came when the cash came. Spend it for you get it like those rookies all on draft day. For the love like it's match game. Hit the ground running, really do it for my last name. They act different when the facts change. I'm not with the tip for tag games. In my own league, I don't chase game. In my own league, I don't hang with lanes. I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. Now how could that be? Talking about who can be talking about me? Feeling like stretch where I got all this reach. Feeling too blessed when I step on these beats.